Futures back to the upside here once again this morning as we get going on a holiday shortened week and a holiday shortened Monday morning. That's looking a little bit more positive right now than it was initially. Initial move to the downside, you can see as far as the futures are concerned, but holding some of the levels we saw hold after the market closed on Friday ahead of, Thanksgiving holiday coming up on Thursday. Markets are closed half day then on Friday this week. We will get some key economic data in between now and then. Overall, volume expected to be a little bit on the light side as it is typically heading into this holiday, but a few catalysts to deal with as far as individual names are concerned so far this morning. We'll touch on Meta coming up here. Tesla with yet another robo-taxi, apparently robo-taxi license, which should benefit them. Last time we were touching a little bit on the Arizona side, now it's Nevada, so expanding very quickly. Happy Monday.
Yeah, here we are in our new home at our new start time, and same old stories here for this market, that's for sure. Yeah, the Nevada aspect with Tesla is interesting. What's also interesting is the story we had last week with Nvidia with regards to apparently the Trump administration, quote, internally floating the idea of allowing these Nvidia chips to be sold to China. Now, Nvidia actually responded to the report more or less saying that who cares if this is real? We're doing fine without China. So, yeah, interesting stuff here. A lot of these same catalysts are going to be showing up, especially with a holiday shortened week. There are a lot of earnings. Pretty much all of the ones of note are going to be tomorrow.
Lutnick was on Bloomberg this morning. I was listening to a little bit of that, and he was talking about from Europe, by the way. So he was actually physically in Europe talking about the China story, and basically he said a lot of things. Didn't really say a lot of things. He basically said it's going to be up to Trump. Trump will decide whether or not they go with the H20 or they go with anything higher than that when it comes to being allowed to actually sell into China, Nvidia, that is. But praise Jensen as they have been very, very heavily over the past. But yes, brand new start time. Hope everyone has or had a great weekend and is back for, again, a holiday shortened Monday here, a holiday shortened week coming up. Michael Moss coming up this morning. He'll join us probably in about 30 minutes. We'll touch on some technical side of things going into the holiday coming up on Thursday. But stick around for that. Stick around for more talk, more charts, more in-depth news as well, guys. Happy Monday.
Yes, happy Monday, everybody. See, Brandon's got the new fade for the new time.
Oh, does he? He always looks so sharp. I never know if he has a new.
It's like he cuts his hair every day.
Yeah, every other day.
Oh yeah, maybe every other day. But welcome, everybody. Look, there's obviously a lot to get to, but I feel like a little more relaxed. Have a sip of your coffee. Make sure you get that coffee or whatever it is locked and loaded, because we got all-time highs on Alphabet to talk about, potential Bitcoin bounce as we speak. The odds of our cut in December have increased, it seems. And then you have all the healthcare names, as Brendan mentioned. Oscar was up 19. Let me double check that for a second.
Yeah, it is.
19%. For Oscar in health here. And then, some small cappers moving around, ENEL seemingly moving. I see the DVLT, as some people in the chat have mentioned. So, there's always going to be a lot to cover, but now we have a little bit more time to ease into it, prepare for all the stocks we want to look at. And look, I can see right now, Oscar number 1, DVLT number 2 on our list. I'm assuming that's Micron right there. Yeah, number 3. There you go.
MU,
No Tesla.
Yeah, I'm on BABA. I'm on Google today. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, it's nice to be here at 8 o'clock now, starting a little earlier. We've gotten rid of the 4 o'clock show to give you guys a little bit more before the market, right? And so we'll be back doing the review shows when there's major earnings or major announcements to be talked about. But yeah, welcome back. Look, the Nasdaq's up almost 1% here right now. So that's nice move happening. Google was up 8% last week. Just going even more right now. Like, what a move. Back up through $310 right now. I mean, who would have thought that was happening? We do have Novo Nordisk news here. Not great news coming out of Novo with their Alzheimer's drug, all the way now down 11% and kicking lower. So, yeah, it's not all the same here. Novo v. Eli Lilly, I mean, a little different. But when you put out a drug and it doesn't perform up to expectations, you go the other way. So Novo going one way here, Eli Lilly just kind of hovering. It's still down 1% though, going the other way. And then, yeah, man, it's Nvidia. Brendan So I touched on that a little bit there. 180. We'll see if that can battle back. Palantir still 156. So although the Nasdaq's up, some of these names don't continue to be super solid here today. I mean, the thing is, now that we start a little bit earlier, it's like an hour and a half now until the market opens. So it's tough to talk about like some complete early levels, but I still think I'm still looking a little short here on AMD underneath 220. We'll see, you know, what that happens if we can get some, you know, price action around 200. I feel like right now it's cooking to the upside, so I'm not sure we'll get 200 again, but this should be interesting to look at as well. Yeah, look, Packers got it done yesterday, which was nice against the Vikings, who suck anyways, and then both the Bears and the Lions like win in overtime, so that sucks for the NFC North. But I saw the Patriots won, so that's not going to be good. And then
all the upsets
Kansas City won, and Baltimore won, and
I was sitting there, I'm like, every one of those teams that I want, after the Bills lost, every one of those teams that I wanted to lose, they were all losing.
That's the same
Chiefs
thing
were losing. They were all losing, and then I guess you had a few comebacks. It is what it is. But you know, the other thing that we get to do with an early start is maybe go over a few things that we don't always, right? Like in the morning, just quick note, right? We're back under 25 in the VIX. So that, I mean, that's usually that's a bit of a positive sign. Like one of the things that had been lingering last week, and certainly throughout, you saw this on Friday, is every time we got back into 25, you were like the VIX was bouncing, so you were finding support at that level. If I just put up like I think 3 hours is the sweet spot here. Like we'd been rejecting, the last time we completely rejected 25 and kind of rejected it, but we were holding above. And now that you're getting the consolidation below, there's just a little bit more, I guess, confidence that we can not have one of those crazy reversions. We'll see. I mean, we're going to keep tracking this. We're still making higher lows overall, so I don't think we're necessarily out of the woods. We're through at least all of the big earnings. With there's a handful this week. Alibaba reports tomorrow. We get Zoom tonight. So there's a few things that are going to be out there that we'll have to watch. But certainly watching the VIX, paying attention to what's going on with Bitcoin as well, with that 80,000 bounce. And then the other thing we get to do is I can hear in my ear. Was it Amaze that was just going?
I don't know. I have Alibaba December 12th.
I thought there were.
Sorry, December 5th. I don't know, it says unconfirmed in 11 days, but that's just Benzinga. That's probably, Adara was saying, no, you guys must have heard that different right there. 11 days from now. I don't know. We'll have to double check that. But I think Alibaba's going to be.
I see this tomorrow.
Yeah, I think Alibaba's going to be a hot stock today for sure. It's actually stock number 2 on the sticky note already, so we're excited for that. Yeah, so people are saying it was M-A-Z-E there that you were hearing about.
It's popping.
A-M-Z-E, sorry.
Not a lot of volume, but it is starting to
go. 30 cents. Yeah, I mean, that's part of getting in here early too, right, is to be able to see some of these names get going real early. Amaze, what used to be $11 stock. Okay, maybe this is primed for another, this looks like a reverse split, right? 50 cents, yeah, 10 to 1 at least, 20 to 1, I guess. 50 cents or so up to, I don't know if it was rated in there, 750. I don't know. We'll look at this, but yeah, there's Amaze trying to go again here, only up 25% to start off with. Yeah, Oscar up 20% as well. People want to talk about that. That's going to be on the list here today too. Again, a name that I'm in. We bought a little bit more last week, but nothing crazy. I was at these levels down there. So I bought Alibaba, I bought Uber, I bought Oscar. That was about it last week. Last week was a crazy week, man. Hopefully this week could be a little more calm. I don't know. Nasdaq really went for a roller coaster ride last week. It looks like it's starting to do it today again, man. It looks like a pretty good roller coaster happening right now. This is just you're going. Let's see. We get to where we were Friday before we started to fall down a little bit there. So we'll wait to see where we go on the Nasdaq here. Trying to get back up to 25,000. That's only 24.5. So lots to go. I think we got as high as 27,000 or something on the Nasdaq. So. Yeah, pretty choppy last week in intraday, but once it got going, we had some good directional moves there. Yeah.
Worth noting too, back to the old school, asking in the chat, how come the stream starts early today? Because it's starting at 8 every single day. It's a new change. If you're just jumping in now, I know some people are used to it at 8:30, so you might be matriculating in, but as you do, this is permanent. We're starting at 8 o'clock. Getting rid of the aftermarket show so that we can bring you a little bit more action, not action, but a little more analysis and preparation, and then we can have some of the small cappers moving around as well, take you into the morning. And of course, look, just because we're not doing the aftermarket show, remember, when there's big earnings, NVIDIA watch party, Apple, Meta, like those types of things, we'll still be doing a special half an hour on those particular days. So if you're just tuning in, we're doing a little bit more pre-market. And now we can like listen to all the small cappers that keep going. I see NNOX is going. It was ENEL, ENLV, I think. But one of the names that you would mention, Oscar, that entire sector, save one, because Novo, well, healthcare and biosciences are very different, but one stock's making 52-week lows, and that's Novo. Already on the ish list today for me is going to be Novo Nordisk. And then you'd mentioned the futures on that 25,000. The thing about we got to break 24.6. It seems real obvious, but we topped out there twice. You know what? A 15-minute is going to look better than a here. On a 15-minute, it got exactly to 24.6, both in the afternoon on Friday, and then the initial bounce and that crazy, Thursday, that reverse on Thursday was wild, but then bounced to exactly 24.6. So you have this interesting double top. Once you get through there, it's like an all systems go for tech longs. Right? Like if something's a long on your list, like that's a breakout. So I want to be buying the dips and all the names you like. It doesn't mean, like Noble is the name that I'm like, even if we're breaking out 24.6, I'm going to be looking for fades on that stock because it made a new 52-week low. That's a pretty big level that we're going to visit very, very quickly, I think. We could see that one before the open. We could see that one literally right as we open up and break out that potential 24.6.
Yeah, here's the Nasdaq right here, down 7%, basically from the highs, from 689 down here on the Qs. 640 down to 580, and now you're starting to bounce a little bit higher. So in total, about 7% taken out of the Qs there last week, and then or just from the top to bottom, not just last week, and then the SPY as well. I mean, it's not like it's trying to be into too much bear territory over here, but that was that's the same chart. Hold on a second, it changed my level too. There it is. All right, let's see how far the SPY went down. I feel like the Nasdaq was going to be a little bit worse than the SPY. Yeah, only 4% on the spiders, top to bottom. So yeah, the Nasdaq and SPY doing a little different dances here than expected, but Bitcoin 86,000 as well. That's trying to make a comeback here. So yeah, look, there's going to be lots to talk about today. Thank you for joining us real early. Let's go back and find out what Brendan and Adara have on their mind, and then we can keep putting the names in the chat, get that visualizer going, and yeah, if anyone wants to send us coffee, you can do that as well.
Donut?
Shout out to Rivian Millionaire.
Mine is officially empty, so I second that. Yeah, lots of things we can get to here in this new first 30 minutes as well. Remember, there are a few key economic data points that do come out prior to 8:30 now and then. We'll get ADP private payrolls. It's one of those, comes out at 8:15. And it'll also give us a little more time to prep when there is a big number that comes out at 8:30 instead of just bang coming on with the number itself at 8:30. So I think it's going to be great right across the board. A couple of things moving around here as well. I just saw Meta pop up in front of me back towards day highs, trying to make it 2 days in a row here to the upside. Nice close anyways on Friday along with the overall market here for Meta. This story out over the weekend, kind of interesting. Apparently they squashed a internal study on the psychological effects of their social media platforms. I don't know if it got to a point where they actually saw the negative aspect of that and said, let's just throw that in a closet somewhere and pretend it never happened. But new court filing saying, yeah, it's not great, the results that they found.
And reportedly, it's part of their Project Mercury. So apparently these results showed that there were higher incidences of depression and anxiety, and specifically for people who stopped, like youth who stopped using social media, they actually would lessen their depression and anxiety. Now, apparently also, employees actually vouched for the results of the study, but the company kept it hush-hush. We know there are a lot of concerns and now even a lot of lawsuits with regards to how these social media companies are impacting the health of youth. And when I say social media companies, mostly talking here about Meta and Snapchat, though I believe there have been others as well.
Yeah, I mean, overall market just kind of shrugging this off, but maybe a broader story here as far as Meta is concerned. About to take out the highs, though, guys. The market looking pretty good here to start things off so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is
1%.
not news. It's not new news, right? I think this has been made of Meta and social media for quite some time, right? Whether you agree or disagree, I don't necessarily think that Meta is going to move on this, because all anyone cares about right now is how much they're spending and whether they're going to get a return on it. And older concerns like this probably not going to affect it. I think if it was, the proof would be in the pudding. If it was not trading exactly, almost precisely what the Nasdaq is up. I mean, it's ticking every now and then, but 1% on Meta, 1% on the NQ. Shows you that it's essentially just moving with the market recovery. And until it can get back to some days where it's outpacing, this hasn't even, sure, it bounced. I mean, but everything bounced from last week. So yeah, it's up a little bit off of the 580, but I still think you're in this finding the bid from the last earnings report, and it's in a downward trend until, that could easily break today. Maybe you're above 605, but I think there's stronger names out there. We've mentioned Alphabet, certainly for sure, and I would put Apple and Amazon kind of in that category. So I'm not caring too much necessarily about this particular story. That said, if the market were to turn, let's say we get to this 24.6 on the Nasdaq and we aren't looking very good breaking it out, then Meta turns into a name that maybe you prefer to the short side off of some of those highs from last week, like the 605 area would work in there. But I'll probably be focused on a little bit more in the chips, crypto, until proven otherwise. I mean, that's where the volatility's been, like all the chip names, the crypto names, and then today you're going to get healthcare as well. So Meta on the back burner, I get it. It's probably a legitimate concern. I would tend to agree with it, but I don't think it's going to move the stock all that much.
Some stock moving here. PFSA, I think it was. PFSA. Yeah, Pro USA here. Prof USA. To present abstract titled Monitoring Tissue Oxygen Dynamics, something yada yada. So here we go. Here's a fast one for you to start the day. I mean, one is absolutely sleeping, and then 2 minutes ago we start to pop up here, performing or presenting at Paris Vascular Insights 2025. So PFSA right here, a new runner starting to go for you if you're looking for some stock. So there it goes, man. Part of the reason why we're starting a little bit early here. Yeah, I'm with Neil, man. I mean, wow, social media is not good for you. Okay, wow, great study, man. That guy should definitely, I mean, if you're going to award something, this guy, whoever wrote that or girl, should win something. I mean, that would be absolutely amazing. It was an internal one here, apparently. Project Mercury. So they've done some studies here finding that depression and anxiety created with social media. I mean, who would have thought that, of course? But, for me, Meta has nothing to do with that. We've been talking about Meta for a long time and their overall spend. So here comes the spend, and we've seen it. And they're just going to have to show up next quarter. And if they do, then yeah, this will all be, you'll be wishing that you had sort of bought something down here. I still think Meta has a ways to go to the downside. 560, 580 doesn't seem low enough for me, right? Although 800 to 560, and again, we use this little, thank you, Randy, so much for that. We use this little calculator here. You're down 24% on the ruler right now from Meta top to bottom. So you are in bear territory. So to start to pick something up down here isn't horrible, right? The stock that I kind of like right now actually is this MAGS. You guys are asking me for some ETFs there. This pays about a 1% dividend, and most of that is thanks to a small dividend from Google and Apple. But the MAG 7, if you're going to look, this is the MAGS ETF, Roundhill ETF. I was giving this to some friends of ours in the chat there, but this is something that's also been hit. So this gets all the MAG 7 names. You don't necessarily have to worry about individual. And then you're also not getting the Nasdaq 100. So this would be a name that, obviously top to bottom has performed real well. Oh my God, it's here already. $40 bottom up to $70 top. So this is still performing fine. You don't have to pick out single stock risk. So this MAGS stock, I think each stock is 14.5%. So it's like well divided as it should be. But here's just another stock to get involved with. Obviously, Google ditched their Google Plus or whatever they had for a while there. They were trying to get into some social media. Snapchat, they've had their days as well, and they're falling right back in to the low side for Snapchat. This is probably worth buying at 7 if you can get some love down into here. I actually like Snapchat better than Meta if we can get this lower, just because you have some protection down here. I think Meta is just a risky, a risk right now. Like Amazon, there's some other names that have fallen down pretty good that I would just trust a little bit better than a Meta, like an Amazon as well. I mean, Amazon top to bottom is something very similar to that of the Nasdaq, so you can get some good value here. I think what you said, 6%, 9% top to bottom there on Amazon. So that's you know, approaching a level there. So bouncing off the 200 period moving average. You know, so some good Mag 7 names involved. And then I just saw at the corner of my eye, Google was pushing that 312 now. Pushing like this up another 4%. Like, okay, I remember like last week, the only day that I lost on Google last week was that day when Gemini 3 was like announced that it was getting some good success, and it tanked and then has been ripping the last couple of days on stories like that. So there it goes, man. Google right now, just absolute monster. This was a $140 stock at April lows. More than double here for Google. Yeah, another day in euphoria land. I mean, Nasdaq's up 0.9. What's going to bring the market down? We don't have major Fed or anything too much today, right? We had at 10:30, we have something. No, we had 10:30 Fed, Dallas manufacturing. We don't even have Fed speak on. They might be speaking, but we don't have them on the docket.
Not today.
Is anything major?
There's a 2-year note auction at 1 o'clock as well. So I mean, sometimes that could move things. I think the 10 would be a bigger deal. But you're way back up here on that December meeting. Great odds, right? Like we went from like in the 70s to, you know, a couple of days after we tagged, I think it was like it might have been 72%. Like you tagged down underneath 50, and then we're right back to where we were before. And just double checking, Kaoshi's always been a little bit lower, but what's interesting is Kaoshi also hasn't moved as much. Like when the Fed watch went from like 75 into underneath like 50, Kaoshi moved a fraction of that, and they're still saying 70% as well. I kind of feel like they're going to be the better way to, in the future. Nothing wrong with the Fed watch tool, but I get the feeling the Kaoshi rate decision is going to be the best place to look for the odds in the rate decision going forward. Like the actual betting markets, because the way that this flushed and recovered, or maybe not as crazy of a move there in Kaoshi, we'll see. We'll definitely see, but I like it actually just moving to 69 as we check live. And then there's another small cap running here, ENLV. That's the one that was, because you keep hearing it in the ear, and if you're in the middle of talk, sometimes I get the ticker wrong. But they announced a private placement to initiate world's first prediction markets digital asset treasury strategy via RAIN token accumulation. So they're back. And it's done over 30 million shares already, up 50%. What does this look like on the daily? An absolute barcode at $1 breaking away. Prior high at 120. That should be an interesting one if you can come back and hold on to that. And I'm sure it's probably right around where VWAP is. Yep. It always seems like on these runners, when they break out the high at this time, that the volume weighted average price somehow, where it already dipped to, ends up being that prior resistance on the daily chart. So watch out ENLV. Very good volume so far this morning. That's one of the reasons we come on here, so we can look at all these names, see what else you guys are interested in as well. And that way, and there's no economic data at 8:30, but if we had, like on Wednesday, when we actually do have key numbers coming in at 8:30, we'll be prepped and ready and not kind of rushing into, oh my goodness, what's happening? No, we'll have kind of laid the game plan of what we're expecting and what could move, and then the numbers will hit, and we'll be all much better prepared. So let's get back to the desk as I'm going to take a sip of my new coffee that Ricky brought. Nice and warm. Need that.
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday going to be the biggest day on the economic calendar this week. Here's a look at what to expect coming up tomorrow. As I mentioned, that ADP number coming out at 8:15, so we can bring that to you live. It doesn't typically, I mean, there are times when it can move the market, but it doesn't typically, it's not a big reaction unless it's just wildly one way or the other outside of what is expected. We'll get PPI then at 8:30. That's going to be the big one tomorrow. Retail sales as well coming through at 8:30. And then some housing data at 9, consumer confidence at 10 o'clock. So, and as Neil was saying, again, Wednesday, full docket of economic reports coming through as well. So Tuesday, Wednesday going to be the big day, or biggest days. Thursday, remember Thanksgiving, obviously markets closed, and then half day on Friday. Absolutely nothing on the economic calendar for Friday to be aware of. There's I wanted to mention the yields. We saw a little bit of a sell-off early on in the yields. I lost my chart here, but both the 10-year and the 30-year were downside initially to start things off. We're seeing a bit of a bounce back here, but market not really reacting to that, still showing strength.
Yeah, I mean, strong market. I think there's a lot of sectors guiding this as well. I mean, overall market strength, but we also have Oscar Health and a lot of these names in that insurance space doing pretty well. We know Politico reported that the Trump admin is considering potentially extending these ACA or Affordable Care Act subsidies. So that's going to be a really good look for that sector. And again, Oscar Health, a smaller name actually leading the group, though MOH, Molina Healthcare, and one of Michael Burry's picks, actually. That one is pretty strongly to the upside on this as well, maybe more so than the likes of Humana or UNH. So some of these sector-wide moves could also push this market higher. And Chinese ADR is not really a sector, but they are going to be on watch with Alibaba earnings tomorrow morning. Alibaba's Quen reaching 10 million users. There's a lot of catalysts today that could push this market.
Yeah, China ADR showing all kinds of strength so far this morning as well. So here we go. Here's the 30-year right now, downside still, but you can see we did bounce already this morning back to the upside, but 3 days in a row for both the long end of the curve and, I mean, 10-year anyways, trying to show a little bit of resilience here, head back to the upside. The overall dollar is still strong. It's been that way since beginning of October, really. We're still grinding around that 100 area for the DXY. Speaking of buying the dip, I was also reading over the weekend, guys, that Cathie Wood back into Nvidia in a pretty big way again, buying the dip, taking advantage of this pullback once again, who famously obviously sold it way before any of this happened, or the majority of her stake way before any of this happened. I think she was long initially around $2 or $3 though. So, I mean, the initial move justified, but yeah, ARK back into Nvidia.
Can't quit. You can't quit Nvidia for long.
Okay.
That's for sure. No, I mean, one of the most active, I don't know, maybe the most active money manager I can even think of. So if you're going to be active, well, part of being opportunistic, if you like something, you like a story, then you should be buying the dip, and that's kind of the idea I would assume behind Nvidia. But it's interesting. We're showing 24.6 on the futures as a resistance spot. And if you look at it equivalency on Nvidia, because Nvidia has turned into it's just so eerily similar to the Nasdaq on a lot of days, and it's not even the chip name that ends up moving the most for you. Like you're almost better off. You're gonna catch bigger moves 9 days out of 10 trading AMD or Micron or SMCI. Heck, you're getting bigger moves percentage-wise in Intel a lot of days, to be honest with you. So the 185 level, I kind of look at this here, and if the futures tell us a guide for overall tech, then Nvidia over under 185 will tell us a guide as well. Like if we're rejecting that, then I'm not, if we get up there and we're rejecting 185, I'm going to turn to the trend break style trades, like these reversal type stocks, like SMCI, AMD as well. That's got like the 215 level on it, if we can't get above 185. But Nvidia is going to have to lead the way for us. And when you think about this dip, from a technical standpoint, you basically dipped right into the liquidity zone. Just go back to like August. We started in August, and we haven't traded too far away from the 180 at any point. And every time we get there, it's just like you hang around a bit, and it's resistance, and then it's support. So I could easily see Nvidia in a possibly frustrating sideways pattern in here, where it just kind of trades. Maybe we see some 170s, maybe we see that 50 period and break it a little bit. But I think we could be in a bit of a chop fest in this range, and you're going to want to use this almost like the futures for the chip market a little bit here. That's my intent today.
Yeah, look, I was thinking it's really strange that, bless you, that I think like Cathie Wood is getting back involved, or at least announcing it now. I mean, I think it's obviously way too late, as Brendan and Neil were both mentioning there about when to get in and sort of miss these moves. But, as a money manager, you got to manage the money that you have. And right now is probably a good time. I mean, it's better now to get involved in Nvidia than it was, 2 weeks ago. Now you're past earnings and you're down, 13%. Okay, so $12.25, $12, $215, all the way down into 180 and change. That's complete top to bottom. It's probably not actually 12%. It's probably more like 10%, but nice move to the downside there for NVIDIA. And again, if you like the king, you might as well grab it right now, because if you just miss this trade all summer and all fall, I mean, we're heading into, obviously it's November 24th right now, this is a good time to pick some up. You know, if you are bullish about the whole space, why not pick something up right now? I mean, you know, you've seen a pretty epic fall back down in for a name like an AMD. We've seen, I mean, Oracle is not going to be a chip name, but that kind of leads the way to the downside there. Even Advanced Micro Devices. I'm surprised. I think you might be hearing, maybe she's just looking. We can always look up at Kathy's ARC. You can always look up what she's holding and some of the decisions that she's making. But I think AMD is a little bit of a riskier buy right here, because you have this gap fill back into 160. That if things go wrong, that this is probably where we need to go back into the 200 period moving average down there. We do know that Broadcom's been also holding up quite well. And then if you did want, you know, to really get involved, you can check out the SOXL, which is a 3 times daily ETF. And here we go for Broadcom, similar to NVIDIA, where you have that complete high at 390, but this is just a pullback into 350. So it looks very, very similar to me to NVIDIA. So if you want to diversify a little bit, get one other than the other, you can get that. Or you can just grab them all with either the SMH, SOXL, is that an Amex name? Yes. SOXL over here on the Amex. So this is a great, you know, 3 times if you want to trade day trading this level as well, or SMH to grab all these semiconductors. And this could be, again, another really good level here to pick these guys up as well. Just back into July, as we said, September. If you're going to go back to July, where we are for NVIDIA, you got to get down to 271. So this is where we may want to pick up some better value with NVIDIA rather than the whole market. Like the SMH is actually holding out pretty well. Well, remember we just showed you NVIDIA's back to July levels. So that would put SMH down here at 260. So there's something, I think, with NVIDIA and getting a little bit of value down there. You know, forward PE just around 40. I don't think it's unbelievable, the valuation here. You're going to pay a market premium for the best name. So I feel like that's okay, but only up 1% is the Nasdaq, is up 1%. Only up 0.7 is NVIDIA. So there's definitely stronger pockets here today, including obviously Google. I want to check out what Apple is doing here today. 272, so that's going to be a banger today too, like above that 270, definitely catching a bid here off of those lows. Like it's, I don't know, feel a little bit better this week than we did last week, that is for sure. So yeah. Grinder, did I just hear something? Oh, you know what I wanted to, oh yeah, they're pushing back against their take private. I just wanted to check in here at PFSA, so that's another one that Prof USA presenting in Paris has come back in as well. So these are just some names. Remember, it was up 25% or so. These are some names that we want to check out early, because if we start to hear anything moving around, keep it in the chat and keep us, you know, apprised of all of these moves. Data Vault as well, DVLT, we talked about that last week. That's moving a little bit here in the pre-market. And of course, the biggest name that may be held by you guys is Oscar. Oscar got hit, obviously, on the Affordable Care Act. And we talked about that a little bit there with Brendan and Adara. But this name continues to rock a little bit right there, breaking back above the 200 period moving average. And we bought some of this last week. We had first bought it near and around these levels too, right down here, a little bit lower. So get an opportunity to buy it. I think we got it at 14 or so before that final move down. And now a little bit of a bump up there. UNH also starting to go. So some look there. And if you want to get the XLV, which is the healthcare ETF, you know, this will probably go today. And some people always ask us, like, what is, you know, where can you sort of get away from single stock risk? Well, there it is right here. The XLV definitely having that bump up off of better UNH movements as of late. So there you go, man. It seems like there's lots to talk about today. It's not just all tech related names, although and to be always leading the way here. Micron. Yeah, we had some people say on the watch, it was like Google, Oscar, Micron, some UNH, always so NVIDIA.
It's the thing about Micron is like what goes up must come down, but like it's just been outpacing some of the regular chip names just in terms of volatility alone. Like 3% today when NVIDIA is a half of 1 point and the Nasdaq's up 1. Whether it's this or SNDK or WDC, like they're just, this has been where it's at. Like this even seems like a 212. I might have written this one down and not put it on the note. 212, which was the resistance the last couple of sessions, I mean, if the Nasdaq hasn't broken through the similar resistance last couple of sessions. Nvidia's beneath 185, and Micron kind of already blowing through, so you have some relative strength there. And then I saw in the chat, yikes. It was a question of why is Oracle so weak? Because you just got to put things into different buckets. And right now,
I have to buy some of that.
Yeah, right now Oracle is just getting overly punished as like the top, the top of the AI market is all Oracle's fault, and they're not going to be able to meet these targets, and they have the most risk if OpenAI is going to flutter, is going to be unable to meet their obligations, is the best way to put it, a nice way to put it, I suppose. And you just lost the 200-period moving average on Friday was the real loss of that level. So there's not a heck of a lot that you've got except for Friday. Friday's low is literally the December high, the January high in these low 190s. So that's a big one. Oh, and we've got a super chat in here already. So we can throw that one up there. Get Results Fitness. All about getting those results, for sure.
CJet?
CJet, can you go over the CJet news and what it means? You, Sean. Here, I'll
okay.
I'm going to check the news.
Yeah, this means a lot to me, the CJet news. It means it's a make or break story for me. No, I have no idea what this is. Earnings, this says unconfirmed 11 days. The same thing that I said for Alibaba there, but we've already confirmed that looks like that's tomorrow. $1 billion here in Edge AI tokens, set to acquire them. They have a deal here today with Edge AI Frontier Technology to buy up to $1 billion in Edge AI tokens. Okay, strategic partnership with Edge AI. So attention, Adara, CJet with a little news story. Adara's pretty good at parsing through these, but if we want to look at the CJET, yeah, again, thank you for the super chat and bringing it to all of our attention again. And this is what we're trying to do here every day is look at news stories. And this is one that I didn't catch. There's the news right at 7:18 as we brought to you there by Benzinga Pro. Yeah, Edge AI, I don't know enough about that, man. But, you know, looks like that was a reverse split again, 7 cents all the way up to $4 or $5. You know, split again. Like, see, so it splits here, right? And then splits again. So like this split right here from 31 up to $7. So that's already gonna, you know, dilute the shares 20 to 1. Then you just diluted the shares 20 to 1 again. So if you bought this back in June of 13, you're now diluted at least 40, 50 times at least. So this stock is dead. And I would not trade this or hold this in the long-term portfolio at all. But as far as a day trade today, I mean, this looks like a decent little level right here. What is that, $3? Yeah. So for me, man, $3 looks like a good breaking spot there for CJet. So thank you again for the super chat. And before I go over to Joe, let me just quickly see what the short flow was because I had the stock up and meant to talk about it and didn't. Short flow percentage. I have never seen anything like this in my life.
Well, that's
so it's either right or it's wrong. And now I've zoomed in and I can't find it. So let me zoom.
It says 900, but
okay,
that's probably...
Yeah, it says 907.
It's a mistake.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Take it off my screen. We have now zoomed in way too far and have no idea what we're doing. But it said 900%.
Let me just check a second.
CJet right there on the short float. So, yeah, very, very risky.
I see 7.5% at 50.
Yeah, okay. So that's why.
Call it 7.5% short flow. That makes more sense.
Here it is here. I got it.
They probably didn't adjust for the split.
Yeah, there it is right there. 907% short float. But that's because they didn't adjust for this, I guess, right? The split. But anyways, thanks for the super chat. We do have somebody who has a very low short float because no one's shorting this guy.
That's right.
You know. It's Joe. Was that okay, Joe? That was all right, right? Joe with upgrades and downgrades and possibly some option talk?
Go options first here, then we'll get back to a little upgrades and downgrades later, because I mean, we're starting early now. So let's get right into it, guys. Happy Monday. And a lot of activity, actually. So we're going to start it off here with some United Healthcare, UNH. We've seen this name start to climb a little bit higher, guys. And at that 330 strike price expiring this week, there was some activity. Considering it's a $330 name, we're sitting around 2,000 contracts still currently open. But with that volume being substantially, relatively speaking, on the call side, so around 4,000 on that specific strike price, guys, and that's going to be expiring on Friday. And now as for Uber, starting to get a little bit of a recovery here as well too. Open interest light, but the volume relatively decent, relatively speaking, once again at that $86 strike price, expiring this Friday with 2,500 on the volume and 1,910 there, guys. Now, as for Walmart, kind of going oppo the overall market, and this is exactly what we wanted to see. The open interest relatively high, but this doesn't expire until December 19th, so there's still quite some time, but I think that $115 can be in the works for Walmart, especially if it continues to kind of go the opposite direction in which we're experiencing in some of the tech names. Volume around 3,730 at that specific $115 level. Now let's head over and take a look at an individual call that I like in particularly, but one thing to note, so we're going to start this off with Apple. And that's going to be expiring this week as well too, guys. But the open interest around 14,600 at that 275 strike with volume around 19,400. But I want us to pay attention to the bid and the ask. That's relatively wide for a very liquid name underlying in which Apple tends to trade. And we've seen it with an example in NVDA last week where our spread was $1 opposed to $13. Now this will tighten up come the open and as more liquidity steps in, but that's something to keep an eye out on. The delta relatively cool as well, considering we are at an out the money strike, and then our gamma is our gamma as well too, guys. Not too bad, and at the money IV. 22.1%. We've seen cooler, but I'm not going to complain whatsoever about that implied volatility on Apple, because if it's in the 60s or 70s, that's when you're going to start paying an increased premium. So you can classify this as somewhat as a discount, guys.
Yeah, okay. We just got actually a story. Thanks, Joe, for all that. I mean, Apple's in pretty interesting area there. I really like Apple at that 270, so that call is an interesting play there. So here's Bitmine, sorry, finally announcing, this is BMNR, right? Yeah, so here's BMNR just announcing what their holdings are. So I don't know if Michael's coming on to talk about crypto or not, but I know that sometimes he can. Oh, he is, perfect. So here's Bitmine right now announcing this is their total holding, quite a nice number there, 11.2 billion in crypto and cash. I don't know how much cash that is. I guess I could probably find that out in here. But look at this, man, 3.6 million Ethereum tokens.
Out of the money.
At an average price. Yeah, I was going to ask you, what is the price?
28.24.
28.24.
So they're out of the money.
Okay, so just slightly out. So there we go, man. We have MSTR right now, and now we have Bitmine, and now we know exactly their price. So that's good. I mean, you know, we can sit here and talk about BMNR and Tom Lee and sort of the destruction of what's been happening over there. But, you know, at least now we get that number, and it's good to hear, right? Like, we thought that MSTR, their pressure point was somewhere around 74,000. Maybe Michael might know a little bit more about this as well. But MSTR, huge move to the downside. Bitmine, as if they were brothers in arms, following with a complete collapse as well in the crypto space. And I don't want to call it a complete collapse. It's down 30%. And again, Michael's coming on to talk about this, so he'll have more chart-related stories, I'm sure, about the crypto space. So without any further ado, let's go back. I can see Brendan's waiting and Dara's ready to go. We're ready to go. Thank you for joining us early today and every day moving forward now.
Every day.
The energy don't stop, but the time gets a little bit earlier.
More coffee.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, Michael Noss wants to talk crypto, but wants to talk stimmies, guys, and what that could do for the crypto market as a whole. Let's bring him right in and get a take on what we should look for as far as Bitcoin is concerned, and as far as maybe, as you mentioned in your tweet here, Michael Noss, happy Monday, maybe the Robinhoods of the world as well could be huge beneficiaries of this, potentially anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a brilliant idea or if I was just memeing a little too hard and I can convince myself. So everyone just bear with me here for a second. But yes, this is the tweet I put out last night. It was actually just a funny, someone was interviewing Bassent and basically just said, hey, will these $2,000 checks be inflationary? And he said, well, maybe we'll convince people to save this time. And I laughed. And I think anyone who was trading around in 2020 2021 would probably laugh as well, because we knew almost on time with every stimulus check that went out there, you had speculative assets just rip, and the most nonsensical ones. We're talking pictures of rocks and monkeys trading for millions of dollars. And it just kind of made me think. So I went and I looked up and I looked at the date of every stimulus check that went out during that period of time and what happened to Bitcoin 30 days later. And that's what the next chart is here. And, it's only 3 instances, so it's not like this is a huge data set that we should be super interested in. But first stimulus check, we had a 35% rip. Then we had 20%, and then we had another 5% after that. So it seems like a lot of people, I wouldn't say most, but I think a lot of people will buy some speculative assets. That's why my joke was maybe just deposit the money right into Robinhood and cut out the middleman here. So if that's going to be the case, that could be maybe the catalyst to get crypto going again, because it's obviously been hurt a little bit here for a period of time. But it's starting to get a little bit oversold. So, that's either just hilarious or actually a good idea. I don't know which one, and we'll find out if and when these stimulus checks ever hit. But from a technical point of view, if we take a look at the next chart here on Bitcoin, this is the first time, and this is a pretty just bog standard indicator that so many people use, which is just a 14 period RSI. I think it comes default on a lot of charts that you open, but it's just showing the amount of the speed of the move is the best way to put it, right? Momentum, how fast is the move going? And I've highlighted the 3 times in the last year or so that Bitcoin has become oversold. And yeah, you can see them there with those vertical yellow lines, and not always the bottom, but the last 3 times pretty close to it. And it kind of leads to a bit of a larger conversation that I wanted to have about this is how I think Bitcoin might move from now on. I think we need to unprogram ourselves from, Bitcoin breaks out and it just rips a couple hundred or 1,000%. And, I think me and Neil have been talking about this as well. And I think we're in agreement on this, that the more an asset gets institutionalized and the more it gets part of everyone's investment, the less volatility you're going to get in that instrument. Because if people are rebalancing their portfolio, then when it gets lower, they'll buy. And when it gets higher, they'll sell as a way to rebalance. So I might be looking a little bit more at the cryptocurrency space, doing this kind of mean reversion and, buying dips and selling rips and not looking for a breakout to 250,000 or 1 million or any of these crazy moves that we got in the past. But this may be a more tactical way for me to trade around my kind of core crypto position by adding when we get oversold and then, subtracting some when we get overbought, and rinse and repeat based off these 3 kind of ideas, or these 3 instances of, Bitcoin getting oversold. I highlighted this purple zone just to show this is the area we were chopping around in the beginning of 2025. There could be some support there, some shorts covering, that kind of thing. And if I'm right on all of this kind of crazy thing, I feel like that Always Sunny meme with all the lines on the wall, but it could be good for Robinhood. And that's the last chart I have here, where, we're down. I'm hearing all this talk of a bubble, and then I'm seeing stocks like this, and I'm seeing tons of QCOM down 47%, and this is down about 50% from its highs, and quantum computers are decimated. And I'm just starting to wonder that if we start to see a low in Bitcoin, and we know that there's quite a bit of Robinhood crypto correlation because it's where a lot of people trade it, that this could be an interesting area. We have the psychological whole number of $100. People are kind of tied to that. I've highlighted this box just to show, July through September is where we kind of spend in this zone as well. So this could be a way for people who potentially aren't interested in the crypto side of things, but, believe that crypto might be near a bottom, to be able to invest in a company that actually makes money and that type of thing in order to potentially get a push higher. So, that's I know a long series of craziness, but if we are getting these stimulus checks and it's going to go into crypto the way it did before, might be time to nibble on some Bitcoin or some Robinhood.
I saw a couple people talking about, not specifically this, but from a technical standpoint, kind of what you were hinting at there, specifically at the end. And let's double click on that a little bit here. If you zoom out and look at the overall market or look at any of these individual names specifically, talk a little bit about the the size of the move that we've had down from the highs. You mentioned a few individual names there that are standing out as far as that go. And then specifically what needs to happen technically to not necessarily recover from this, but maybe digest the move down. I think a lot of people, because of what happened in April, that instant kind of bounce back and then it was just straight higher, might have the urge to front run this a little bit, anticipating the same thing could happen, but it's not always the case.
No, and it's important to separate the K-shaped market, I guess people are calling it now, where we do have the average stock, and I'm just here looking at the RSP, that has gone absolutely nowhere since July. We're at the same price of the RSP. So again, for those who don't know, the RSP is just the equal weighted version of the S&P 500. So it does a better job of saying, what's the average large cap stock doing? And yeah, right there, perfect. You can see we not only have we gone nowhere since July, if you zoom a little bit further where you have that, that's last year, right? So before, we're at the same price we were last year. So we've essentially changed nothing in most stocks. So I think it becomes a real question of, yes, the AI trade and Nvidia and all these things have been doing phenomenally, but the average company still hasn't gotten that move. And this is why I brought you guys things like healthcare that's been doing amazing, and energy, which I think might go next, but I'm not too sure. And I think it's important that people, when they look at this and they start to hear bubble talk and things being overdone and maybe the bubble's going to talk, they just zoom out a little bit and say, well, the average stock has done nothing this year. I came into the year saying, hey, it's year 3 of a bull market and we might chop around sideways. Did not expect, that occurred. But in the grand scheme of things, most stocks have done nothing. And a lot of stocks are in bear markets already, or even worse, are in, massive correction territories down 50, 60%. So the question I think we all need to ask is that, are we going to see a benefit from AI to the bottom line of these other companies? And if so, start to pick your targets of what you think that might be. Again, I'm heavily invested in healthcare for this reason, and some of these other names. But yeah, it's a bifurcated market. Some stocks look like they're in a bubble and they're about to pop. And then we've got kind of the rest of the world that's just trying desperately to kind of catch up.
And then if you go full circle on this, stimmies to come that could benefit the fart coins of the world and crypto in general right across the board. Michael Moss, great stuff. Thanks for this.
And anytime. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, and thank you, Michael. And apparently there's like a Doge coin ETF, which is supposed to debut this week, believe it or not. Which I'm sure, at this point, I'm sure we all believe it, to be honest with you. But no, I like the Robinhood thing. And just to a point, it was a guy from work in the chat, not a guy from work here, saying what stocks are 60% down. And I think this is sort of, it goes to Michael's point. The things that are down that much, those are your quantum names pull back. I mean, it's not, maybe not all of them, but a bunch of quantum names pull back that far. You're not making any money nuclear names pulled back that far. So you had like the overall super excesses in the market maybe pull back that far. Not everything has had that kind of a dip, but Robinhood does feel like it's the kind of pullback. I mean, double tap 150 and it has 100 as a key level. You make the argument that bounce already happened. Where like 102 double bottom Friday, that's close enough. And you have it's a mini rounded bottom here on Robinhood. No, this actually looks pretty good. The one concern I would have is, okay, well, what if we lose 85 again on Bitcoin? Like I'm treating the 85 level on Bitcoin the same way I'm looking at the futures at that 24.6. Okay, well, if we're breaking out above it, that's a major resistance, and I'm going to favor those long plays. But the last few sessions, especially last week, no matter how good you felt about things running higher, you had to be careful for reversions. And ultimately, when we lost shelves, sometimes it was pretty nasty when you lose a shelf. So I look at something like that 85, and if we lose 85 today, then it doesn't matter how good of a rounded bottom this does look on Robinhood for a potential breakaway today. It's a huge gap. It's easy to look at that move down from Thursday, and very enticing gaps to be filled on a wealth of names. I think Robinhood easily stands out as one of the better ones as well. So, this one has to be on your radar. Just keep a close eye on crypto. we lose that 85 again, none of this is going to matter.
Look, I mean, I think it's kind of an obvious plague. Obviously, we were talking about this all last week, that if you don't like crypto, then you shouldn't be into Robinhood. Robinhood primarily doing, they don't trade, I mean, this was according to their report, they don't trade too much equity. A lot of crypto talk there, and as I was saying, if they're going to be a lot of their, accounts are going to be holding onto crypto, and right now it's in a big drawdown. So same as Robinhood here. And I like what Michael's talking about. We had called a 9 handle on this. We got to 101 and change. So yeah, maybe that's as low as we go. And if you're playing the long, you definitely want to use $100 now as your springboard. So if you break through it, watch out. But that could launch us back up to the upside, especially if we do get some more positivity in the space. But okay, we teased the upgrades and downgrades before, but now it's the real deal. So let's go over to Joe and figure out which stocks this morning have been upgraded and downgraded.
Real deal, Holyfield. That's correct. All right, guys, let's get right into this and take a look at some of the upgrades and downgrades. At the top of the list here, we have Barrick Gold by Citigroup going from a neutral to a buy, but raising that price target to $48. We're up almost 3% on the session, 2 and 8/10 there roughly. And then we also have Baidu as well, guys, going from a neutral to an overweight by JP Morgan, lifting that price target to $188. You're up 3.7% in the pre-market session. Now, Carvana by Wedbush as well too, guys. Going from a neutral to an outperform, you're up 3.5% in the morning session as well too, but no specific price target there. And then we have MP Materials by BMO Capital Markets, getting that price target raised to $75. You're up 3.5%. And that's also going from a market perform to an outperform as well too. So not too bad of a look on the upgrades and downgrades now, the upgrades. Now, as for the downgrades, Exact Sciences going from a buy to a hold by Benchmark, no specific target on that one, and no percentage metric just yet. And then Jazz Pharmaceuticals, once again, going from a buy to a neutral, so a neutral weight, so that is going to be a downgrade by UBS Group. And then Kimbell Royalty Partners by KeyCorp, going from a, a buy to a neutral weight, and then also a sector weight as well too. So down 0.5%, and then Arrow by BTIG Research, getting that price target lowered to $19.
Yes, sir. MP certainly worth watching this week, but don't get too fooled by the next bounce if we can't get through 65, specifically on MP Materials here. And we talk about upgrades and downgrades as the potential catalyst for certain moves in the market. Maybe they're already happening, but just to give an idea of how big a deal that 65 was, it's not just where we fell on Thursday and the high from Wednesday. Go back, and you've had multiple rejections of the same price area in the last couple of weeks. So I think, look, can MP make the round trip again from 55 to 65? I think he can do it this week. It's certainly possible. Whether or not the upgrade or downgrade has anything to do with whether it does it, I just feel like this is one where if somehow today it gets there, it's a fade. I kind of feel like that's unlikely. Is MP going to go $8 on an upgrade? Probably not. But if we do get to that 65, I think that's a place to, if you're short term, ring the register a little bit. If you're a day trader, that's a spot to look for a reversion or a short, because it's been pretty distinct about where it can't seem to get through, at least particularly with this name. So I like me some MP. I mean, for the long term, I think they can be a win. But this week, I'm selling in front of 65.
Yeah, Baidu, good little upgrade there as well. I mean, came into pretty close to the 200 period moving average. About $10 away there at 100. So, we came into 108 or so, down into there. That would have been real nice to get Baidu down there. But, for me, we have listed today on our note, and we're going to probably go over Alibaba and some of the Chinese names as well. But I have Alibaba written down on here between 155 to 156 long. The sticky note is now out. You guys can go find that. So for me on China, I'll be looking at, and I only made we had 3 trades, 3 names that were all traded there on Friday, and we actually were able to go 3 for 3. But let's just wait to see what happens here with Alibaba today. There's the 200 period moving average, still slowly starting to creep up. Right now, Alibaba up that 4% as they get 10+ million downloads on their Quen new app there. So that was just released, similar to what Gemini 3 is doing for Google stock. We'll hope to see if Alibaba gets a similar bump there as China goes bump in the night last night. So yeah, Nasdaq still up 0.8, sorry, as we go, and the ES right now up 0.4. Some of the banks starting to hopefully creep up a little bit here, breaking through 300. We'll see where that can go here for JP Morgan up 0.25. And then, you know, as opposed to Robinhood, I much prefer SoFi, and SoFi right there, 25 and change, another name that's on the sticky note. You can go find that at Trader TV. Sean and join 55,000 of you over there as well. Good little level here, man. 25, 50 or so for SoFi. Yeah, this should be a good one, man. Lots of names looking good today as the market and the Nasdaq trying to battle back. Although the last half hour, we've dripped back in just a little bit here. So we've now been live for an hour. So if you're joining us now, as per regularly scheduled programming, it is now 9 o'clock, and we're now live at 8 o'clock every single day. So make sure you do join us at that point. What's up to Mike P. Ryder, Hamster, everybody, Rivian Millionaire, all the usuals in the chat. If you want to become a member, just hit subscribe, and then you could join our chat. So it's very easy and completely free. So also our watch list is also available in the description. You can get that, and we're going to run through our watch list sometime around now.
Nowish.
Yeah, let's go. Lots to cover here this morning and throughout the week this week. So make sure you do jump down to the description and grab that. Absolutely free every single day. It comes right to your inbox. All you need is your email address. Top link below in the description will get you to that sign up page. Let's talk Tesla here to kick things off. We touched on this very briefly off the top this morning. If you joined us again, yeah, 8 o'clock now. Make sure you come join us at 8 o'clock every single morning. Tesla robo-taxi clearing major certification hurdle in Nevada. We had basically the exact same announcement going back to last week for Arizona as well. We're right back to basically the top end of the range here, hovering just below 400 here this morning for Tesla.
The tough thing here with these certifications is you can't just get one, Brandon. You have to have a whole series in order to operate these self-driving vehicles, right? So right now, apparently, they have the self-certification process for robo-taxis that allows them to deploy these AVs on the roads within the state. However, they would still actually have to receive regulatory approval from the Nevada Transport Authority in order to operate these commercially. So they've completed step one, they still have to complete step two. But I mean, it's a good step. And as Brendan mentioned, a lot of these states now and cities are starting to have the Tesla file for these permits. So it'll be interesting to see how and when they actually expand these a little bit further. Yeah,
looking good here so far, guys. Tesla, a little bit of relative strength maybe this morning.
Oh, for sure. Just needs to somehow get through 402. Like, I don't know, like, how many times did we reject 402 on Friday? Half a dozen. Like, 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times the stock got to and broke $402, and each time was at least whether it was at the open, rejected it by $4, obviously a little bit worse later on, getting to VWAP and through later on as well for Tesla. So suffice to say, we need to get through 400, not just 402. I venture you got to break 403 today. Just get above that high, and then you've got some room to rally on Tesla. So it's a little bit, you could call it diddling in the middle here. If we don't break 403, I just don't see like where to get bullish. 390, the 380s have been where it's at. So if we're heading to the downside, I don't know if I like this thing until we get down to 380. It's got to be holding the bid above that 403 level. But the way I look at it, I was bullish on Google yesterday, and like the breakouts, reversions were king in yesterday's trade, or Friday's trade, I should say. And breakouts weren't necessarily the jam because we had a weekday. So I'd rather be playing dips into VWAP into that 403 if we can hold the open range there on Tesla. And then when you start to think about the higher time frame, yeah, we can go rallying from here and maybe we get 410 and maybe you get 420, but you're still very much in this chop consolidation under the 50 period. So even if we get bullish, I think the same pattern is forming down here as we had when this was from 420 to 480. So until proven otherwise, I think we're trading inside of the range. So you're looking for longs into 420, and then you're looking for rejections of 420 at some point over there on Tesla. But it should be on watch today. We get through that 403, and it's got some room to rally till it gets to 420.
Yeah, I don't have it. Tesla's been one of the names that over this month has treated me really, really well at these levels. So I just didn't write it down today. I don't know. Up 2%. you know, still waiting for it to get into this 370. I'm not sure it does. I mean, these little bottom wicks there, that 380, were really bought up into this level here back December, November, December, January levels, right? And so we held those and didn't get into here, and it's not that it's that far away, but I really thought that we were going to be coming into the 200 period moving average. Now, you know, you get some talk about Waymo, and Waymo we heard last week is over $200,000 per vehicle is costing Google to put those on the road. That's not going to fly if the numbers from Tesla are what we hear. So I would, yeah, this 402, I mean, quite an obvious level over the last day or so. But even after that, though, then you got this 408 up here. I don't know. I'd rather just play the dips in Google. So if we can get something, I don't think it happens today. Oh, man, where's the, is this a 1 minute? What do I, yeah, I maxed out the 1 minute chart here. Okay, so the 200 period is at 397, but that to me doesn't really jive that well. Yeah, this is why I didn't write it down. I'm not really feeling so great because this is 402 right here, which is just too choppy up in these levels. I really think, is that 410, 412? Yeah, like somewhere up here, I think is where Tesla probably sits today. And then we'll look at it a little stronger tomorrow for me. So not really on the radar there today for me is Tesla. If anything, we saw Rivian have a decent recovery day one of, was it Friday? Or yeah, just kind of, I guess, kind of like all mid last week, we really did do nicely bouncing off 14.25. So this to me is a much better area to pick something up. So what about that? What about Rivian between 14 to 14.50? You know, if that can drip down a little bit. So yeah, something happening right here. So we'll look for. I would much rather play Rivian dip into better support area right now for me than Tesla, anyways. So yeah, not on the list today, but doesn't mean we won't trade it. It's 905 right now. Nasdaq trying to bounce a little bit up about 0.1 since we last looked. So all right, crypto sell-off. Yeah, I still think it's on, but 86,000, not necessarily a healthy level. But let's go find out the stories here about crypto. We saw Michael talk about it, and now we're going to get the main stories, and we'll discuss some IBIT, some BMNR, and whatnot.
Yeah, the BMNR, the Ethereum look, interesting one, I think, throughout this week. Here's IBIT so far this morning, sitting basically at the top of where we saw some resistance going back to Friday, but holding on to that same number now as support instead. Yeah, if you were with us in the first hour, remember 8 o'clock starting going forward here every single day, guys. We were touching on it with Michael Noss. He was mentioning the simple fact that these $2,000 checks could be another catalyst here back to the upside for Bitcoin.
Yeah, that was an interesting one, and I was kind of looking at you off camera, like that's impressive that he did all of the work to look back at that. So yeah, certainly something to watch here. What's also worth watching, Brendan, is that we're actually poised for a 5-week losing streak on BTC. So there's been a lot of weakness. One pattern that I've also noticed is that these crypto names are not necessarily all following Bitcoin to the downside. In fact, we actually have some of them gapping up this morning, at least as of, a couple hours ago. And B, they're all kind of moving in tandem against some of these crypto tickers. So there was a while where they were moving with Bitcoin and or kind of on their own. Now they're all kind of moving together. So I think that watching the patterns here with how these equities related to crypto perform in relation to Bitcoin itself is worth noting. And I think right now it's a little bit staggered.
I was just scanning through kathysarc.com and looking at some of the trades that they made last week. A lot of them, as we mentioned, Nvidia on the buy side, one of them, Sean, kind of interesting. She was actually selling AMD, as you were talking about. But the rest were all crypto-based. Circle, Coinbase on there, everything else outside of Bitcoin itself. On the buy side, on the individual names as well. Robinhood was another one she was dipping her toe back into. So yeah, as you were saying, the individual names might be interesting here.
AMD, huh? Something in common there, Kathy. But no, actually, look, I think 85 matters a lot today. I don't think there's any way past that. Unfortunately, ultimately, like you've had a decent bounce, but as Sarah mentioned, you've been trend down for a while. So when you're trend down, you should be at least a little bit cautious. All kinds of support over the weekend once we held the 85, but we got to 85 to 88, and then we're not just sort of resting on that support line. Like so much. Like if the first thing that happens is we lose that support line then you kind of go back to what we were doing before, which was just dropping. And it's easy to look at the highs on Friday, which is about that 85, by the way, and say if we lose this, you're trend back down, and then I'm short Mara, again, which has been the vehicle which has worked the best, at least for myself, to express the short side of the trade. You get better percentage returns. But if we're holding this, then that Robinhood breakout's going to be in play. And certainly Bitcoin itself, if we hold the open range on the 15-minute, if we hold 48.5, and I want to make sure, because it's bearish, like if you're in a bearish trend, I want this holding that key level on the 15-minute, and if I don't see that happening, then I'm not convinced that we're long off that level. So make sure that we're holding this on the higher time frame. If we end up with a rally day, when this trends, you're fine. It trends all day long. And on Friday, even when it was upside, you had multiple chances to buy the dip to get back into that resistance high. So allow that 48.5 or the 85,000 level to dictate. And if we fail it, I know where I want to play short. It'll be Mara, maybe even potentially breaking through some lows, but certainly off of Friday's levels. Like the thing I like about Mara is pretty much at those prices when Bitcoin's above. So Bitcoin moves below, Mara should have no trouble being weaker because it's already relatively so.
Look, I put Bitcoin in the same category sort of as I do with Meta and Oracle and all these names that are really just falling like, you know, uncontrollably right now. You don't, why bother to try to catch a dip in any of these names when you could just, you know, play it when the momentum's higher and when we get a little bit of a rally coming through on this name, right? And so for me, if we're gonna do that, the 50-period moving average is obviously at 106, so we can't worry about the 50 or the 200 periods if you're gonna use a daily chart, because that's all over with. What we have to look at right now is a 5-day sort of moving average, and you know, we could put those on here, and I'll do it for you in a minute, but if you, indicators, I'll call up on our chart, but we'd like to see this at least work off of some of these levels right now. So if we're going to call in, just here, let's just go over to IBIT really quickly here right now. So here's a 5-minute chart. You could use, like I was saying, you could use a 5-day. That's what Brian talks about all the time, is a 5-day moving average. But right into here, I think for IBIT, it's at $48 right now. I think we'd like to get back above, clear some of this garbage out that we've already seen happen here in the Nasdaq and with this name on IBIT, and get above this $53 area. So if we can get above and take out the last sort of 4 days to the downside, and then we can work against potentially a base where we have a bottom, because then we can use our 50-period moving average right there, 200-period and 50 on the 5-minute chart are now starting to join. So now you're starting to get a little bit more momentum now to try to get back up to the upside. We just got to hold these levels. So why bother to buy dips down here at 46, 47? I'm just talking about longer term. I mean, to day trade is going to be completely different, but I would rather, let's see if this can be the bottom rather than guess that it's the bottom. So if we can break through $53 right there and play momentum back up to the upside, I think there's so much to go there on crypto, and especially if you're going to be holding it for a while, it's not going to be that much difference between like 48, 49, and 53, but at least if we get back up to the upside there, then we can say maybe we've caught the bottom and we didn't have to look for it. So right now, I think you're trying to find the bottom, and we've only had 2 days now off of those lows. So there's one move, and then now here's today. So let's give it a little bit more room to breathe here. And if we can get back above this 53, 54 area, then I think it's time to push the buy key. Until then, let's just see what happens, because there could be a lot lower to go. Like the Nasdaq, as I just said, man, it's only down that 5 or 6% now. And look what we're doing right here. So maybe the market has bottomed, but I'm going to give it a second to wait, because honestly, man, crypto at 86,000, it's a little scary. I mean, we were high at 128, 127. So it has pulled back a lot, and I don't think the space is necessarily that healthy. So
I was just taking a look at some of the individual tech names as well. I mean, Apple is 3 and change % off all-time highs. I mean, some of these things are just holding up so strong. Google's another one that we'll touch on right now. More than doubled now since the April lows. Here's 4.6% on top of that. Again, this morning, all kinds of strength coming back into Alphabet.
Yeah, and we have to talk about this Gemini 3, because that is very much what drove that push to the upside. we had that initial strength on Tuesday morning with the anticipation of the Gemini 3. Then it gets released, and the market really, really likes it. You know who else likes it is actually Salesforce's Mark Benioff. He said he spent a whole bunch of time playing around with it over the weekend. Now he's saying goodbye ChatGPT, hello Google Gemini, which is quite the interesting claim. He did also say here, or not Mark Benioff, but just in general here, Google in their disclosure here for this Gemini 3, they actually said that their Gemini 3 Pro was trained on its own TPUs, so not rented GPUs. That kind of shows maybe a change in that, what we call the AI renting cycle, right? And also less reliance on Nvidia, which is a good look for Google.
And maybe not great for OpenAI going forward as well. So here's free air up here, guys, right now for Alphabet.
That's a new one. Free air, blue sky setup, you know, parting of the Red Sea, whatever you want to call it. It's all happening right now for Alphabet. But you go back to, I think it was Thursday. Thursday is the day where, you know, we're looking, like the previous day was so strong, and you were gapped up, and then at the open, it was like a freak out, and then that big reversal as well. I look at those types of highs, 306, and then the high that got made after that, like 303. And if for some reason we can't hold VWAP, those are pretty hefty areas to try to come back into for dips. Right now, it's just cruising above the volume weighted average price. So the notion of like the prior high, meaning too much of anything, not as big of a deal, right? So I want to look to VWAP first, because if you're holding that in an upward trend, I think you're good to go, especially with something making an all-time high. I want the buyers to show me if they can hold on to VWAP. If they do that, then you're just looking trend longs. And it wasn't clean that way on Friday. It was a bit of a chop fest, but it's Friday. You expect that. The $300 level is going to maybe chop you up a little bit like that. But now we're clear of the 300 level, hopefully for the good in the next little bit. And right now, you know, these guys are in favor, meaning Alphabet. And I like Gemini. I think it's fantastic. I tend to not be as, you know, loyal to any one of these more than the others, but I can tell you that sentiment matters. Right now, they seem to be in the lead, and to the extent that that's true, let's see if we can hold on to 310 and VWAP here at the open, because if we don't, a lot of patience is required. Because if we lose VWAP and I want to be long, I really have to wait until it gets to that prior high.
Look, I mean, we've been really hot fire recently with some of these picks, and I'm going to just keep on doing what I'm doing, and that is looking for some of these levels. And there's Google, my #1 trade idea today on the sticky note. I just was saying basically here that, you know, we have a big range to come back into 305 to 307, but I do think that's possible, especially with the way the Nasdaq is going. The strength is so obvious, the dips need to be bought up, and we're at new all-time highs. So that's what I'm writing down here for Google, and it's just making easy trades, right? It's not about like getting in and out quickly or anything like that. It's trying to figure out that Google is going to be a top stock moving forward here, especially, you know, if you're going to look at a Nasdaq rebound, which we're currently having. This has been led, man. Last week, Google was up 8%. Looks like it wants to continue going higher here right now. I'm playing this pullback. I just told you the levels, man, 305 to 307, so right into here. And the reason why we wrote that down is we're starting a little bit earlier today, so I did the work and was just kind of guessing where this 200 period moving average would be, and now it looks like it's up more near 307. So let's wait to see if we get a pullback into 307. Again, this is why I wrote it down, these highs right into here. So any kind of love in this area, man, for Google, like, you know, we would take that. So that's what we're waiting for. Let's see if we can get it. It's Google. It's an absolute monster, man. Glad this is such a decent part of the portfolio. We've been talking about it for a while, and I hope that you guys have been able to at least trade this to the long side in your own accounts. So there goes Google, another all-time high today, and just cranking. It's already done 3 million shares. We don't have any imbalances yet on the Nasdaq, so there's nothing to see here. At 925, they'll be populated, but this is what they look like so far. BBAI with a small bid, 550. Circle, we talked about crypto names. They've still been getting crushed, but a little bit better today, up 2%. MSTY, don't know about that name. And there's Alibaba 160. So lots to go. And on that note about Alibaba, let's go back to the desk and talk about some of this Chinese strength that we're seeing in the market today.
Yeah, ahead of earnings coming up tomorrow, as we were mentioning for Baba, I was just reading a note here. Paramount Skydance not moving on this, but President Trump reportedly pushing Paramount to make another Rush Hour movie. according to Semaphore. No, right?
Oh, I don't know how to react to that.
It's been a long time since the Rush Hour franchise, but it's so random. Yeah, exactly. Let's go to a few other things I mean to talk about this morning. China across the board has been pretty good. We've had earnings from a few. Again, BABA coming up tomorrow. NIO coming up tomorrow as well. I just saw before the market opens, so we'll get an indication maybe on the EV side of things as well. Yeah,
that should be an interesting look. And then we get the final Chinese EV earnings release for the quarter on Wednesday with Li Auto. We already got XPeng last Monday, so Li and NIO are the laggards here. I do want to talk as well about Baidu, Brendan, because Baidu got a pretty hefty upgrade from JP Morgan. They raised their rating on the stock to overrate from neutral, but the bigger thing here is the price target increase from 110 all the way up to 188. Basically, they're arguing that the investment case for Baidu is less of its legacy advertising business. Now it's going to be towards monetizing, you guessed it, AI and cloud. So because of that, they like where the company's going. Speaking of AI and Chinese ADRs, Alibaba also on watch. Their Quen app apparently reaching 10 million downloads already. So that'll be a really interesting earnings report tomorrow.
And will they or won't they get access to the top of the line Nvidia GPUs coming up? We'll see as the negotiations between the U.S. and China continue. Yeah, I mean, Alibaba looks absolutely fantastic here, about to break to new day highs here in the pre-market, guys.
Yeah, but do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? That's what I want to know. You can't just, this rush hour out of nowhere, so we're rebooting it? I don't know. You know, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Because it'd be interesting if they're rebooting it, if they're, because you can't be Jackie Chan's too. You can't do that. I don't know who would play. I don't know who you'd get, but you'd have to do it right. Huge fan of those movies. Look, Alibaba, whether you're looking at this, I think there's a couple of other names. I'll get to one other one, actually, in particular, in a quick little second. But the 4 points that you're up, we have yet to break trend in BABA, but the 150, pull back in a prior high, held 150. You need to get through 162, right? If you get through 162, you're in breakout mode in Alibaba, but it's been a chop fest in this zone, 58 into about 61.5. So my gut was telling me you might lean into that and have trouble coming out of it. The other name that will be on watch in China, well, out of the Chinese stocks, I shouldn't say in China, but out of the Chinese stocks is a little something potentially in the other direction. Because JD's coming back into prior lows, which is that 30 level, 29.7 into 30, and it could retest that today. So that same kind of area where you had BABA in there between 158, 162, JD has a 30 level for resistance if it has trouble getting through that. And JD's just built differently, right? Like JD hasn't gotten off the schneid. JD recently made a 52-week low, so very different from Alibaba. If that 162 is resistance and we don't push through there, JD feels like an obvious short at 30.
Yeah, so for me, I just, same old here. I mean, I just showed you the number 2 stock for me today will be Alibaba, 155 to 156 long. Quen, 10 million plus downloads. It's going to be a hot thing there in China. It obviously already is. So there's 156 right now coming into play. So just looking at that, why I like that trade. Coming back into sort of where we were. I mean, that could be a good bottom rate here, 157.50. So let's just give this a little bit of a look. When I write this sticky note down, it's an hour ago. So, no real, or even earlier, so no real guidance on where the price could be at open. But this level, back to last week, the 14th is where we started from and bounced. Then we couldn't hold 157 and went to the downside. Then we hold until we don't. And now we gap through. So yeah, between like 155 to 157, basically. I know it's a $2 worth of range there, but if you just trade it with lighter shares and it does fall back in, I think this will be a nice trade to have into your lap. I really like Alibaba. I bought some of this last week, and a name that's on my shopping list 100%. I averaged up into Alibaba, so that's how much I like this name. So, so far so good, man. I mean, up 1% here in the Nasdaq, up 0.6 in the ES, and the market. I mean, crypto's coming back in a little bit, but the Nasdaq right here looking pretty healthy to start the day. And China names would be real great to continue that to the upside. And if you were nervous about all the different names, FXI continues to work here today and getting higher as we go. And this again, look, rinsed out a little bit on some of the worries last week about AI and just the overall chip space. Well, Trump came in and said, hey man, we'll sell some chips to Nvidia and so on and so forth. And now rush hour and all this positivity coming out of China, yet no deal announced. We'll see. Well, I mean, they talked about the deals, but the CHIP Act, we're going to have to figure that all out. And once that gets going, then I think FXI even goes even higher than that. And BABA can win regardless of this whole situation. I think they can win standalone. They don't need U.S. help, I don't think, anyways, but we'll see. Singles Day is huge. We know what Amazon does around here on Prime. So I like Alibaba today, up 4.5%. And 156, 157, I guess, is an area to look at. It's one of the stocks that's on my radar here and taking up a space on my level 2.
Thing as well, when it comes to China, do they even want old NVIDIA chips versus, a lot of people have been talking about Huawei as something, in the pipeline that could be available as soon as early 2026. So, yeah, good point. Let's go to NOVO to the downside in a pretty big way here so far this morning. A lot of reports on the potential upside of these weight loss drugs in other uses. One of those was thought to be Alzheimer's or potential treatment for Alzheimer's. This one, though, definitely not the case.
Yeah, and this is a kind of scary because, this is one of the biggest potential use cases that we have discussed with regards to these GLP-1s. And even going into this trial, it seemed like Novo Nordisk had pretty low expectations. They actually referred to this trial as, quote unquote, a lottery ticket. Well, it looks like they lost money on said lottery because let's talk about these results. The goal of the trial was to see if semaglutide, which is the active ingredient in Ozempic and Wegovy, would actually help slow progression of Alzheimer's disease. Now, apparently, the treatment with semaglutide actually resulted in some improvement of these biomarkers related to Alzheimer's. It didn't actually slow down disease progression. So certainly not what we were looking for. Novo Nordisk has had a little bit of trouble as of late. They actually bid above Pfizer for Metsera. And of course, Metsera actually preferred Novo Nordisk for that deal. But then, of course, Pfizer ends up getting the Metsera deal. So Novo Nordisk lost out there despite being really set up to get that acquisition. Now their lottery trial ends up failing.
Yeah, better part of 10% at the lows here for Novo this morning. NVO back to 43 right now, guys, on an uptick. Thoughts here?
Yeah, the good news is it has an outside chance not to open 10% down because it's just a tick back to 9.5. But double bottom gets broken on this news. I just care about that, the technical side of it. 45 once and twice, and obviously broken here with a little bit of gusto. So it's going to get above VWAP. Only 4 minutes to go till the open. Maybe there's even an imbalance because it's spiking a little bit here. But the 45 level is the big key. So on Novo, want to be patient, sort of waiting for that to come in. I don't even know why I checked, but if we have locates on it, I don't know why I thought that might be a name we didn't. But if it's above VWAP, then waiting for 45 to fill in that gap on the daily chart is where I'll be looking on Novo. And maybe they get a bottoming tail event here. And this is like, okay, well, this piece of bad news is the last thing that hits them, and you could catch a bottom. But until proven otherwise, the stock looks like this, I'm going to look for short steps, even if it means being patient and waiting for that 45 level. Actually, so it wasn't on the imbalance locator. That spike was just for reasons unknown. That's an ETF, OSHR, that's OSRH, that's a penny stock. So really not much of anything. BITF and BBAI are on here for like 300,000 shares on the locator. One's a sell, BBAI is a buy, NEO is very small. Roblox is for Roblox, that's maybe not that bad of a sell, 200,000 shares, but a pretty quiet locator this morning.
Yeah, no, I was just, on that note there, I'm not quiet on the sticky note today because we have SoFi and Oscar, OSCR, I suppose maybe I misspelled that, but Oscar there, $14 to $15, $14.50 to $15. We're now up a little bit more than, when we sort of started looking at this, but it is coming back just a little bit. Again, on the Affordable Care Act, Oscar Health continues to get a little bit higher with only 2.5 minutes left. Let me just quickly show you. I think Oscar can work because there is a short float associated with this, so everybody betting against the Affordable Care Act or that there was going to be major changes, which we know there is, which is why we started to go to the what? Okay, this doesn't. I don't think this is reloaded. OSCR. Okay, now there's something going on with Benzinga here because it's not a 907% short float, nor is this the market cap of them or anything like that. So I'm going to have to maybe refresh this system. But it was about 20 to 30% short float or so on OSCR, and they've really come in. So I like this name. Again, relatively decent mover. What do you have for it?
16.
16. Okay, I'll have to reset my program then. A decent mover to the upside there, Oscar. Let's see if it can perform well today. And we were talking about the imbalance locator. I did see it. Yeah, there it was. So it's small buy, 125,000. So there's not there, as Neil already sort of went through this, there's not much on here at all, like BITF for Bitcoin, but there's not much on here. But I really like Oscar. 7 million shares today, man. Any kind of a dip into 1550 or so, I think needs to be bought. That's the 50 period, that's a 200 period moving average, and coming right into here, that's 15. So any kind of a level that breaks that, I think we're in trouble, but anything that supports it, I like. So if we can fall back in, that is really, really great. And I just did see, we did get an email there. For me, it's purple, which is up here. It's just kind of like purpley blue. That's going to be VWAP. And then this pink is going to be the 50 period moving average. And then 200 period is green. So it's green is 200, VWAP is purpley blue, and then pink is the 50, and that's true for me on all my charts, right? And so try to keep them standard with whatever you guys are using as well. Sometimes when you change the time frames, you want to keep it consistent with what you're looking at. But here we go, man, only 30 seconds left. So the first trade on my mind will be any dip love for Google if we can get that. So it looks like it is trying to come in just a little bit now with only 30 seconds left before we ring this bell. Thank you for joining us early. It was a lot of fun. Now we've been talking for only an hour and a half.
That's it.
I'm already tired of my own voice. I hope you guys are not. Now we have 10 seconds left to start the... There it is. All right, so there it goes, man. Now we are ready to rock and roll. And of course, make sure you hit the like and the subscribe, and get ready for some wild trades going to be appearing at the bottom. And we are now open. So welcome everybody to this shortened week. Of course, Thursday being a day off and Friday a half day. It's funny how they make us come. Okay, Joe, it's all good. It's funny how they make us come in for the half day on Friday.
Haters.
It's like, what's up with that? You're supposed to spend all this time with your family and then just come in all hungover and mashed up on Friday. Seems a little bit strange to that one, but we'll be here on Friday for sure.
Mashed up's a word.
Yeah, mashed up, it's a word, Randy. Come on,
up.
man, what is that? Is that not hot in your neck of the woods there, Randy? All right, so
Nvidia's already dipping.
Yeah, Google's making a move down a little bit here.
Yeah, Nvidia's dipping. Nvidia just went red, so this is why we can't have nice things, because that's already heading to the downside. IBIT not doing much. Oscar bouncing off of VWAP, so that's holding on to some strength. OSCR, oh man, I'm going to keep typing that one wrong in the level 2 every time. So bouncing off of VWAP and heading higher is Oscar, at least for now. Google dipping, and then Tesla, it entered too fast. Tesla already, it broke the you-know-what out of that 402 level. Here, whoops, there you go. It broke the heck out of that 402 level. Tesla looks like it's a strong one early, heading for that 410. Adara?
Yeah, it's interesting. We actually had some not so negative NVIDIA news right before the bell. I did put it on our screen if you could see it on the position board, but in case you missed it, I do want to remind you guys, Howard Lutnick, U.S. Commerce Secretary, saying that Trump is considering sending these advanced chips from NVIDIA to China. So again, Howard Lutnick echoing this report we had from Bloomberg last week, suggesting that Trump is considering sending advanced AI chips to China. That NVIDIA, again, though, just pushing lower this morning, guys. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Adara.
Micron. Go ahead.
Micron. I was thinking about this Oscar breaking through 17. I mean, it's on a nice little run here. I think 17 is pretty high, but to get through this 1675 and then using that as our out, if it breaks 17. So I'm going to go long 17 on Oscar if that goes. The other name was SoFi that I was looking at here today, and everything that we're looking at is off, right? Because we are looking for longs, and they're all just going real early right now. And there goes Google. I mean, it looks like it wants to take that 314 too. So with this market continuously going higher here, what about a Google break of 314? It's new, all-time high levels coming into play now for Google. So I don't know, man. Not much is dipping right here. The Nasdaq is really off. I mean, off to the races. Like Apple, look at Apple. Apple's straight up $4 now, 271, 275. Looking to break out for Apple. This might, the all-time high for Apple is 277. So we're getting pretty close for that one as well. Wow, man, things are going real well right now in the market. So shout out to anybody long. I'm not into anything
AMD
yet.
209, pretty much everything is
everything
absolutely flying in here. NVIDIA is finally catching, but it's interesting because when you had that headline about the advanced chips, NVIDIA just gets back to VWAP and could be fading a little bit here. So the other thing to keep in mind is the Nasdaq just powered through that 24.6. So that was resistance Friday and Thursday and Friday. So we're breaking out on the, we're flat out just breaking out on the Nasdaq. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But AMD looks to be a little bit stronger. It hasn't broken 210, so you know what? This isn't even a chase up here. Still got to wait for VWAP and be a bit more patient. Novo, I liked for a fade at 45. That's at least trying to get there. Maybe not. Maybe not just yet. IBIT not doing too much of anything either. So let's, again, we're breaking out heavy on the NASDAQ here, and I'm not chasing this Google.
I have a new position right now. It's a short of NVIDIA right there. Go, go, go. Okay, so hopefully we can have this one, man. As Neil had mentioned there, we are short into this name, not sitting on my phone. Not really sure why we want to go long here yet. I mean, the market is really ripping, and this stock is not having themselves a great morning so far. It doesn't mean it can't turn itself around, but let's give it to 180.25 right now. Just a new position, trying to give it a little bit of love. You know, we nailed that AMD last week. We nailed some big trades last week. Let's just see if this one, and again, it's, you know, we're in about 1.5 units, almost 2 units here, so wouldn't mind if this can start to go, but again, it's not super aggressive on the longs, on the short side of things here. We're just gonna give it a go underneath 180, and just to see what winds up happening here, because if the NASDAQ ever falls down, could you imagine what's gonna happen to NVIDIA? I mean, AMD is the one right now. We've seen these names go opposite and go in the same direction, so it's making me a little nervous when the chip space is doing this and I'm sitting there short the king. We can have a quick look at SMH as well. Yeah, so everything's moving, but not NVIDIA. So this is the surprising sort of the spot for me. We started it pretty small at 179.50. We get much better there at 179.25. So now we're just hovering around flat on this trade. We've already only taken out 15%. Here it goes. So here's the catch-up trade. If this breaks 180.25, we're out of NVIDIA, and we'll take a hit, a small hit actually, to start the day, which is pretty good. But here goes NVIDIA testing the highs, and if it breaks it, we are out. We are not fighting this one. That is for sure. A break, and there it is, and we're out. So there it goes, man. 0 for 1 right there. We'll flush ourselves down the toilet for that NVIDIA, but for me, worth it. Trying to hold those levels, and now going back to the upside, as we already know that what's her name's in this, right? Kathy Wood. So
Tesla's gone.
Yeah, Tesla's gone. I'm gonna try to long here on NVIDIA.
Alphabet is gone. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I just went 0 for 1 there. I'm gonna retry it over here at 180 just to see if that is that over-under level for us here. 180 on NVIDIA.
And Bitcoin just broke the high of the day. So I guess it's going to be one of those days. Wanted to see if it held the opening range. I'm sitting VWAP on Google until proven otherwise. But IBIT, whoops. Make sure I type it correctly.
No, don't be right and then wrong.
IBIT just broke. So as far as I'm concerned, I mean, we're in a bit of an upward trend here. We held on to 48.5 early. So I'm going to play this one back into VWAP. And if VWAP can hold, great. If VWAP doesn't hold, I wait for the gap fill at 48.5. So first look in IBIT for me. Not quite there in Novo. This is the name I liked short, but we just got to 44 in our curling. My gut's telling me this could be a turn on Novo. Just kind of looking at the tape here, I might take a shot to do a quick reversion and take a couple of smacks at this. If Novo breaks 44, again, I probably just jump out of that short and wait for 45. But for now, with checking up at the first even dollar, so I'm going to try to get short that while long into VWAP here on IBIT.
All right, man, market is really blasting, man. Nasdaq now up 1.6%. Congratulations to everybody hitting some of those longs. We get a little piece out at 180.50 for this, only for 20 cents, but we're flat on this trade right now. I'm trying to give this to sort of that low that was made right there. Honestly, a break of 178. I know that sounds like it's pretty low right there, but let's just see if NVIDIA does want to go. We just got through 180. Sorry, we just got through 180.50 again and stopped again. So maybe there's something there. Like I don't mind 181s. That's where my next offer is. So if that can go, then fine. But I realize this is a little bit of a shot here on NVIDIA. just to give that a little bit of a go there. Oscar's pulling back now to 18%, so still nice level. We had looked at that 17. I'm going to cancel that 17 break. I thought if we could get that early, it might be something we want to look at, but now with the market potentially seeing a top there, I don't think Oscar's the right play at this level, but we will look at it a little bit lower. Like we had said, I had written down here 15, right? So $14.50 into $15 here for Oscar. That would be a good little level. $15.50, obviously where the 200 period is, could be a decent reload there as well. And then, you know, the number one trade that I had written down was Google long. And that just came to VWAP. Normally we take that 200 period, but that didn't play today for us. So unfortunately, Google down there at the 200 was a little bit too early and just didn't get there. So 308 now on Google, I think is decent. Maybe even 310. Like, let's just buy 310 if we're lucky enough to get that. I don't think that will come through, but here we go. Finally, there goes Nvidia. We'll make back a little bit of what we lost. Well, we got to get out first. Oh man, it just went to 181 and we missed it. Oh, that's too bad. All right, Nvidia, nice move. Look at that, 180. We're at 90s. It went to 180.85 right there on Nvidia. So yeah, good strength here in this name. We heard ARC was in there buying. We see AMD is really starting to rip to the high side. So we might have just missed that. That's why you got to be, I am there, but oh well. We'll see if it comes back in. Look at that, right down $1 off of that last
big turn.
Let's put a little bit more on now.
Yeah, big turn just happened. We lost VWAP on IBIT, so I'm jumping out of it. If we hold VWAP, great early on, but we haven't, so wait for 48.5. I've reloaded into Novo Nordisk, because they had a bad trial. Really, ultimately, that ends up being the story, but they just hit a 52-week low. What is going on with this chart? Now let's try to recenter it for you.
Here we go.
There we go. So shorted the 44 level, looking for VWAP here at 43.25. Already scalped and reloaded once, but want prices closer to 44 even, as 43.10 is going to be that high. Still nothing going on for Google at VWAP, or Alphabet at VWAP, I should say. Trying to be real patient with this. It just doesn't want to try. Like, we had one dip in a 313, VWAP sitting at 12.5. Like that, it was $1 back to the upside. Like, that's how quick they bounce this thing. There was almost no bid down there. You just kind of flashed it and now heading higher. So really not much of anything to be able to sink your teeth into over there at Alphabet. And we're not trying to ignore everything, other names out here for you guys. I see Amazon in the chat from Big Eyes Gallagher. Just make sure you put in $. $AMZN. That way we can have it on our visualizer as a name that people are interested in. It's outpacing the overall market, but watch out. Look at that topping tail candle at 225. Seen a few things kind of reject up here.
Darn, guys. We had this Nvidia short to begin with, man, and then we switched it and went long. Oh, man, too bad. So long and then short, and then now out. So I think we might as well, you know, we probably have a much better read on something like an AMD than we do on an Nvidia today. I mean, Nvidia's coming back in quite nicely there. And I don't know, like, I guess they're just punishing Kathy, I think. Like, she's in there buying today, and they're just like, no, you're completely wrong on that one, because Nvidia just continuously going lower here, making new lows momentarily. There it is, man.
Bitcoin LOD.
Yeah, Bitcoin. Yeah, I think Bitcoin's cooked for a while. But yeah, down there to 1.7. I mean, is this the buy now? I don't know. No point in focusing on this here. I didn't want to give it all the way to the very bottom, so we'll just stop out on a 179 break. But there it goes, man. So we'll, as last week we talked about the winners we had early, today we got a loser on early, and that is Nvidia. So I'm not trading similarly at all to AMD, as we just showed you. AMD, nice top side play there. Even 212 doesn't look like that wants to stop either there on AMD. So I'm waiting for maybe Nvidia to battle back. Let's go back over to Alibaba to see what's going on there. So again, VWAP, but pretty flat on the day. If anything, maybe waiting for some strength to come back into Google on any kind of a dip. So if we could dip back in there, then we can play momentum strong again. It just touched, I wasn't even VWAP, but we just touched a little low there at 312 and change. So yeah, I think AMD short might be the play, but it's looks like Nvidia right now is continuously going a little lower here, just bouncing off 178.30. That might be the low to look at there for Nvidia at some point, 178. AMD is cooking higher though. AMD just like
AMD is an absolute
212.
It's just a rocket ship, but AMD is not alone. It's not just them. Sorry, I just had to reload my chart there. It just crashed. But Micron is up 7%.
Oh yeah, I should put that one.
7% for Micron. SNDK is up, spoiler alert, See the suspense in there, 9.5%. This feels a little bit much. Stop me if I'm not chasing a single one of those chip names while NVIDIA is barely green and holding underneath VWAP. I don't know, that seems a little bit, that just seems a little bit crazy to me. Novo's trying to head back into the volume weighted average price. I've got a couple of legs out, but it hasn't extended all the way through. Can't do much about the scaling because Novo dropped $7 this morning, so it is what it is. So it makes the dollar look like it's absolutely nothing in here. But reloading 44 is looking for that volume-weighted average price. But these chip names are going absolutely ham. And if I think it's not a chase, I'm looking at what is an obvious rejection of the high on Intel. Can't break 35. Put this and SMCI in my note. And this one cannot break this 35 high, so I'm shorting this one into said high.
All right, finally, man, we got another trade on here, and we just went and said, I was saying, like, I want to think about AMD here, and we finally got it, man. So it's a multiple right here coming back in. We just covered at 210. We actually took 2 shorts there against that top wick of 212. And I just should have left AMD. I just should have left NVIDIA alone after that first time. But I think bless you, I think we were right about that short. Just, it extended a little too far, man. And when you're short underneath 180 and it breaks 180, I give it 25 cents or so and then just get out, right? And then I thought the short, then I thought the long was been hot, but obviously not. So we got to switch up our gears a little bit and go over to another name. So with that being said, it's NVIDIA or AMD, I choose you. So right now $1.25 in the money here as we make back that NVIDIA trade. And that's going to happen, right? I mean, sometimes you're going to put on some of those L's. And just wasn't too familiar with it last week. But today we put one on early and then we put another dub on right now as this one trying to get it back. And, again, thanks everybody in the chat, like saying basically leave NVIDIA alone right there. It was a little bit too random right there off the open. So we just wait and we pick our poison. Okay, here, getting out of too many shares here. Like if this really wants to fall, it means put another piece at 75, and there it is. Yes, sir, there it is, yes. $1.70 now in the money on AMD as this comes back in, and we do a little bit better now, and don't have to worry too much about that NVIDIA hit, but there it goes. Meta also on watch there. Can we get $2 early? That would be nice if we can get that on AMD, but we'll wait for that. Some of the nuclear plays or Rigetti's of the world, the quantum plays, SMR had a nice rebound day on Friday, or was it Thursday, where we got it back up there to $22, and then just went whoops again, down to 18 and change as this name continues to get wrecked. Not today, it's up today actually, but not a great day for SMR and all those names, especially recently.
My goodness.
Rigetti, is Google like at $500 yet?
317.
Geez, man, that's
counting.
a good one right now. Yeah. So what do we have on? You have Novo and Intel. I don't think either one of us took Google. Did you?
Nope.
Yeah. See.
No, it came so close to VWAP.
Yeah,
Look at this thing. It's an absolute rocket ship. Alphabet is a home run right now. 6% to the upside, all-time highs.
Oh, here comes AMD.
Pretty much everything. Look, what more can you say about it? But they're not alone. You mentioned Meta's through $600 as well, so that's a big one. But the shorts, the only short that is consistently working is Novo, because they had bad news. But went for Intel off VWAP. Said I'll short this one at VWAP, and if it breaks out the high, I'll jump out. So shorted it. It did get in the money like 7 or 8 cents, but not really looking for that. Was looking for the low of the day. Now this is joining the breakout as well. So the long is starting to come in, and even as I say that, Novo might actually wick the volume weighted average price itself. So it's traded all the way down 44 into like 43.4 is VWAP. If it can continue, just looking for not the pre-market low, but 42.5 in here, where it was right before the open. So if we get that, great. It's the only thing which is trending down the way that I would like to see it that isn't NVIDIA. Like NVIDIA is built very differently today compared to pretty much every other chip name. Really slow this morning. I didn't restart my PC over the weekend, which was pretty silly. I have to do that at lunchtime because this is taking forever, but I'll just show you my black chart. This is NVIDIA. You just broke low of the day and are continuing to flounder here.
Broke lows? Oh,
yeah,
man.
Breaking the low, continuing to go lower. Like, why another chip name if it's going to be this? Let me just double check SMCI because I like that at 33. We got to check this out.
Man.
Yeah, it's well under 33 is SMCI. This was the other. This chart won't load either. 32.5 this is trading at. If this ever loads, I like it under 33. And the other chip names seem like they're a little bit too strong right now. I'm not going to switch to something else because otherwise it'll take forever to load up my SMCI chart here for you guys. So Novo working, but pretty much everything else not, because the market's booming.
Yeah, I'm kind of with the same way as you here, trying to figure out what exactly is going to work and what's not. But we just shorted against that 212 again right here. But this is like such a slippery slope, guys. Like, this is jumping up and down like 30, 40 cents per time. Okay, there it is. So I was going to say, like, we want to get out if this breaks. We actually did pretty good shorting in our last little short there. We got some more out there. But here we go, even higher right now. Wow. Yeah, so that was working out for a scalp. So AMD is fine. But that did not work out great there as it kept on going higher. Wow, what a good rebound day for the Nasdaq. Absolutely fantastic. So we wrote down 1550 or so for Oscar. Oh no, sorry. 1450 to 15. We basically came right into this area here and bought it back, 1580, but there goes Oscar. Maybe 17 is in play. Wow, AMD is now 212 and change. I mean, there is going to be a turnaround trade here at some point for Google, because is it like it's up 6% and still going? We maybe have seen a top here around 318. I don't know. What do we think, guys? Do we really want to short this name right now? I'll give it a little bit of work there up. The high is this 318. So we're coming into it right now like crazy. So possible here to maybe get hurt again on a short, especially if it takes out. I mean, everyone's going to be waiting for 318. So 318 and a quarter there on a break, I think, is something to get out. So we'll short it against that 318, and then if it takes that out at that 318 quarter, then we'll get out. So let's just try Google here. Getting super excited today, up another 6%, add on 8% last week. That just seems like it's a little too much there. So we'll see about a short little play here. Back in for Google. There it is. So at least we're taking some out here. Good trade back in for Google. We're now 70 cents in the money over here on that one, as now maybe we get a downside push here for Google. So glad we just sort of talked about that through and through, but these are the levels that we're bouncing off of, so we'll get some more out. We're already out of half of this one for 50 cents. Let's put on another bid if we can break through 50s. There, we're putting a bid now at 52s. Maybe we get that, and then that will be the shelf break that we're looking for if and though we can get it. I don't know, but right now, short Google, 70 cents in the money. We just bounced off that level, but we've been covering right here, so not too bad. Let's wait at the 60s again and see if we can get something else. I think I'm bidding 70s and then 50s, and then we'll see about a break here on Google. And hey, if we can get the 21 period, which would be 315.50, that's good enough for me, man. Here it comes in. Go, 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 go. Yeah, man. There it is again, Neil. Another dollar club right there. So nice move downside right there. That's not dollar club. This is dollar club. As there we go. Yes. All right. Good job there for Google making its way back in.
Yeah, the market making its way back in. We're back underneath that 24.6 level. And if you're watching the markets and looking for moves, extended moves, like 3x daily, and you're in Canada, then check out Beta Pro by Globex. The largest provider of leverage, inverse, and inverse leverage ETFs has just launched 6 new triple leverage ETFs, offering 3 times bull and 3x bear exposure to the S&P TSX 60, semiconductors, and U.S. Treasuries. On top of that, they're offering a special fee rebate, dropping management fees to just 65 basis points until December 31st, 2025. Plus, the U.S.-focused strategies use currency hedging, offering the potential for pure performance and exposure. If you're a tactical, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance, check out betapro.ca/3x daily to learn more. Scan the QR code you see out in front of you. As we are starting to maybe try to bounce here, I said what didn't break the high and went to my rule. Underneath 33 was SMCI, didn't break out the highs. Ignore VWAP for now because that'll be a little bit off. But if we get into 32.5, I like that. Novo is attempting to bounce. So got to watch out for that a little bit here as it's through the volume weighted average price. So it's a scalp into VWAP, but now it's through VWAP and holding 43 even. So 43 even, kind of a psychological thing more than anything else. It's not SSR, but it is very close to getting short sell restricted. And if it bounces through 43, that's right around the point at which you would go SSR. So I have to watch out for this. Don't want it regaining that volume-weighted average price on me. At that point, I would just jump out and wait for the next available trade. Novo with a failed trial. Well, poor trial result, I should say. That's the reason they're down that 9% and making 52-week lows as well. So that's one of the few things not really running in this market, which is up 1 1/4 into some serious strength. But you know what's not strong? Bitcoin. We're down 85.5. We haven't lost 85. It went right into prior high. This is a downward trend until proven otherwise. So if it's going to be a downward trend, then I need to see it break the trend to like this to the long side at any point. Like if we break the trend here, we can close above 48.5. Then we're breaking the trend to get back into the volume weighted average price. But it's looking pretty weak over there in IBIT land. Still holding 85,000, which is at least a little bit good. But for now, just have to be patient with it. Google, I don't even think we're going to see VWAP at this point.
No, I mean,
I don't even know what to make of this. I'm staying away from Google.
Yeah, no, I should have done that with NVIDIA, but it's a good thing we got into Google for myself because that's short printed, and now we only have 20% left. So like 15% left on this one. I said if we get that 21 period moving average, we'd be happy as you know what. So that was a big clear out down there for Google. I'll try it again up here, but much closer, like 317, 318-ish, right? Giving us that here comes right back in. So again, we're out of 85% of this trade. So that's done well for us to be able to do that. Let's give it a couple seconds though, just to make sure one more time that this is gonna be the right area for us. But there it is, man. It looks like we should have, of course, shorted more. Up there, but that's okay. We're waiting at 317. That's crazy. 317.75. No, sorry, 317.85. We're waiting at. So we just missed that. That's that sort of that high right there. We missed that by 10 cents, or else we would be well in the money on that trade, but we don't have it. So let's go back over to Tesla and have a quick look. And thank you so much. Again, we started bright and early at 8 o'clock, which is not even that early. That's when we started today, and we're going to do that moving forward. So join us every day now at that time. But Tesla's up 5%. Wow, just big congratulations and a big awesome for anybody that's believed in Tesla. This is a name that I should have bought last week. I was saying that this was going to be on the radar for dip buys, and I kind of forgot about it, to be honest with you. So if you get a move back into this 380, 390 area, I do want to put a little bit average up into the long term there and buy some Tesla on any weakness. So that's been a good little look there today for anybody on that front. All right, here's a little look at the market just to give us a quick idea of what's been going bump right now. Google up 6, Amazon up 2. Great day for those names. Meta having themselves a day. Wow, Broadcom, AMD, like what a bunch of names today. Here we go. Neil already, yes, the market just tanked on me, which is beautiful, man. There goes Google. Google now making lows again, or not lows, but back into 316. That's $1.50 on that one. The banks, though, not super great today. Berkshire downside, not a bank, of course, but big financial. BAC upside. Morgan and Goldman are holding, but it's JP Morgan that are on the downside. Amex, MasterCard, IBKR. There's Robinhood. We had our friend Michael Noss talking a little bit about Robinhood and potential strength in the crypto space, helping that one out. And then,
SoFi.
you know, yeah, I'll look at SoFi. I had SoFi right down at 25 bucks. Maybe we got to go over there. Procter, PM, Philip Morris, Coke, Pepsi, downside on consumer non-durables today. So, yeah, just a little bit of a rough look there. It looks like tech right now leading the way, not financials and consumer durables not helping, as Tesla finally on the pullback. And this is that look that we just got right there, which is why we're pretty happy. There's another 21 period moving average hold for us on Google, which is going to be a good friend of mine, both long-term and short-term.
Yeah, so Marwan just said, come on, Neil, join the Bears. Well, it's a matter of where. Join the Bears. We're all green candles on the Nasdaq, so it's only 2 on the 15-minute, and obviously this one still hasn't even closed yet, but I'm looking at trend down on SMCI. Like, I just go through my list. If NVIDIA is weak, my intention was Intel at 35, SMCI under 30. Well, Intel broke 35, so I'm out of that and looking for a place to maybe get back in, or something that has been trend down the whole way, SMCI. This is a red stock. The stock is still red on the day. Oh, that's right. You've got to wait till that gets better split adjusted. But never really broke through that Thursday resistance. I'm going to jump into this in front of the volume weighted average price. But I do have to keep an eye on. Ooh, never mind. That's why you use stops. I was about to say, got to keep an eye on this VWAP curl and the 43 level on Novo, because what happened? We just bounced clean, second time off 43, so I trailed out of it. There's your bounce off 43. There's your next candle, whatever, so I'm out of this. If we get back to 44, I'd probably take a shot at it. I do like, 45 was a level I liked better, but that's just from the daily chart. It was just the 52-week low on NVO was about that 45 level. So if we don't fill in the gap all the way to 45, I may take another shot at the 44 for the short trade. kind of a clean one. It just went to the even dollar and then faded back in. Now making a little bit of a bounce play is Novo Nordisk. And Bitcoin is breaking trend. It's not a huge trend. It's a 3-minute, very slight, just for the first couple of few bars in here. It's not even 10 o'clock yet, but it is reversing a little bit. So if we do have that close above 48.5, that's prior highs. 85,000 is held as well. We're going to take a second shot here at Bitcoin to the long side. Just wanted to make sure that it looked a little bit different than just trying to hold on to VWAP in here. And I see everyone mentioning that OSCR is flying. Yeah. As OSCR, you can literally see it off, like you just literally saw it pop off on the over my shoulder there on the board. I know OSCR has not broken 17.
Yeah,
it's
I was
close.
Looking at it.
It's close, but it has not broken yet.
Yeah, I mean, we're at $1.50 in the money right now on Google, so I haven't been paying too much attention to OSCR. But yeah, that's 17, man. What about that break? I mean, I think we can take it. I'm going to take a 17 break just to see if anything goes on with that. Oopsies, OSCR.NQ right there. So nice move higher there on OSCR. Just the 17 is an interesting level. I mean, we sort of looked at that again right there. I don't, just because it's an even dollar level is maybe why I'll take it. But, you know, if we do take it, I think our out, and this is why I liked it in the first place, back down to 71 or 72 would be a very, very interesting out for us. Okay, it's Google and it's cracking lower. So here we go. Let's see how low can we go as we finally break through now. We just touched out 115.50s. So I'll put a bid there. I'm actually at 315. Actually, I'm already here. I'm at 63s. So let's just wait for it. So again, we just got missed by literally 0 pennies. Like I was bidding 315.63. It went to 66 there. Okay, thank you so much, Google, but hopefully that will come back in for us in just a minute. So hopefully that'll be something to come through for, and we'll celebrate that at some point. But for right now, yeah, it's OSCR. And again, OSCR going up, Affordable Care Health Act apparently back on right now for giving us some sort of an extension there. So yeah, we have UNH, we have OSCR, all trying to go. Humana probably. Oh, UNH is going to the downside actually. So what's Humana doing there in New York?
Red.
Yeah, so that's a little strange as we see OSCR still going higher, but most other names pulling back. So OSCR, yeah, just getting some love today, up 24 plus percentage points and looking to break through 17. I mean, if you don't believe in this story, this is an absolute banger of a short too, right here. You go short now against 17. That's completely the other way around. You can flip that trade upside down as well. And if the market ever does pull back, you know, SoFi. We wrote down the 200 period moving average, and unfortunately just wasn't here and should have been 25.50. It's a name that's on our note, but we miss the reload or we miss anything there as well. And then just to check on Michael Noss's look there was Robinhood. It's basically flat right now. Now trying to break out a little bit.
SoFi was trying same chart.
Yeah, I like SoFi for sure. Yeah, my bad there, Sean, in the chat. I know we missed SoFi, but I mean, we had it written down, and I mean, that's why I do put out the note, so you guys can have a look to see some possible trades, and hopefully SoFi was one for you. There he is. Thank you.
Thanks, brother.
So much. Randy means a lot. Tesla up. Yeah, that was a good one. Tesla was smoking, man. It was up like 5% at one point there today. Yeah, still 5.5% right there for Tesla. And because Randy's here, a quick little look at Rivian, then we got to go. So Rivian flattish, Tesla running it up to 412. We'll see if we get that magical 420 level again there, Randy. But let's go over to Adara. She's waiting patiently.
Let's take a look at what's been happening this morning and kind of tee up what we're expecting to happen for the rest of the week. Great start here for the Nasdaq 100. We're now poised for our third straight nicely green 15-minute candle here on the QQQs. Let's talk about one of the names that has been leading the entire market and the Nasdaq in particular, NVDA, though today, of course, lagging a little bit. Nvidia, we're continuing to see these reports here and even now claims from U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick suggesting that Trump and his administration are considering sending these advanced chips from Nvidia over to China. Another leader here in the Nasdaq and a name that's much stronger today is Tesla with its Nevada approval here, at least for one aspect of potentially putting the robo-taxi in the state. Take a look here at Google, GOGL, this game continuously strong as we do have that Gemini 3 and Gemini 3 Pro release. These have been incredibly well received. Last but not least, let's talk about Chinese ADRs because Alibaba, Li Auto, and NIO are all reporting this week. And Baidu getting a nice upgrade here from JP Morgan, raising their rating from neutral to overweight and raising their price target from 110 all the way up to 188. Before we send you back, Sean and Neil, take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics. Each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S., but there is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE listed Origenics, OGEN, is changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Origenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more. Schedule a meeting today. Make sure to like and make sure to subscribe as we send you back. Sean and Neil.
It's going nuts.
So young.
Thank you very much there, Adara. So the market is, the Nasdaq is back to the high.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So right back to the top here is the Nasdaq as we continue to cruise 1.75%. I guess we want 2%. How many times have we gotten to 1.5% in either direction and not gotten to 2 in the last couple of weeks? Can't be very often. But I can't help but notice you're not breaking the high here in IBIT just yet. So running out of steam as we get to 49 on IBIT, 86.5 on Bitcoin, and oh no, BMNR. I thought because we were going higher that ETH might have gotten to 28.45 because that's BMNR's price. Unfortunately for them, it's not green yet. So if we reject the high, I'm going to jump out of this one, take the profit, look for the volume weighted average price, rinse and repeat over there. But right now, the story is the Nasdaq, and even Nvidia is starting to get part of this story as we just broke through VWAP as well on Nvidia. Right, we're through VWAP, but this hasn't broken the high yet. Call it a yet on SMCI. It's up 1%. Nvidia just went green. So you drop a positive story, potentially with the China chip sales, you tank it, and now Nvidia is trying to play some catch up. If Nvidia breaks out, there should not be much of anything that stops us from this 2% day. Potential 2% day. We're not there yet.
No, like, it's funny because we just get stopped out of AMD and then it pretty much works. Then it takes out the high. Google's the one we've made 0 errors on, but nervous about getting back into it. Normally, like a stock that we've been really hitting over and over again, we would like to keep doing that. But for me, like, I don't know why I'm so gun shy, but right here, 317, I'm gonna put another order at 317.50. I'm not gun shy about this at all. What I was gonna say is I'm waiting higher. Like I'm waiting at 85 right now for it. So it's like it's missed me the last couple times up. And the reason why is I want to be specific about this 318 because I think we break it if we see it. And then I wonder about it flashing back down. So I'm giving it to 318.25. So I don't necessarily want to be chopped. There it is. I don't want to be chopped up like in this. Okay, here it comes right now. So good. So we just took a little, very, very small piece there just because of what I was just talking about. And we'll get an 85 and then here we go. So here comes Google. So we're hands off. 318.25 break. This is not as big of a position as we had the first time. So, you know, if it works, great. But we are aware of, as Neil and I and Adair and we all keep talking about, the NASDAQ is really on something here today. Again, trying to get to that 2% like we've seen before. So shorting a name that's up 6%, you know, we'll take our money on it and give it one more go here. But yeah, there it is. So breaking above 318. I didn't want to stop out immediately there. I think it's worth giving this another quarter here. Or a quarter, which looks like it's going to stop us out, but it is having a there it goes. I was going to say, that might be, like, did I stop out of the top right there? Maybe. Let's give it one more try. 318.31s, I don't know. But look what just happened. Like we just got stopped out there. That's crazy. So there it is again, just at the top. We may make another run for it, but if we do, then we are definitely out this time on this rip. So there goes Google, man, ripping faces off right now up to 318 and change. I only laugh because it's like, why try to fight any of these things, man? Like they just stopped us out at the top, then tried to make a move down. This is where, and I talk about this with Obi and with you guys too, it's like you start to feel like, okay, don't chase anything. We stepped away from Nvidia when we were wrong. So now let's just stay, we'll give this one more, there it goes. We'll give this one more time to the top and then we're out of Google, man. It's way strong. Probably has a 320 base to it today. So see ya, Google. Nice move to the upside. You're good for a short time, just not a long time right now for Google, unless you're long, of course, then you may want to stay in this thing. But for me, I'll fight that trend one more time and then back away as it looks like we're going to take out the top one more time. But you can see, though, it is having a little bit of problems up here.
Well, NVIDIA's at 180 and slowing down.
Yeah, so this is slowing down.
Although I just got wicked out of potentially on IBIT, but SMCI blew through VWAP and trying to get back to the highs. 333 was the big level to watch, but this one was short early and now looking like it's trying to break back out as NVIDIA tries to test 180 to set upside. IBIT I jumped out of. I put a trailing stop when it did this topping tail at 49. It literally hit my trail, and then it's almost like a buy program kicked in right after they ran that trend. So I want VWAP to continue back into the long here on IBIT because it's starting to go. First salvo, not really. Second one when it broke the trend. Now you're heading to the upside pretty cleanly over on IBIT. You got Tesla, which is going absolutely ham, but it's not at 420 yet. And when we get to 420, I know look, I understand Tesla's really strong today. And ultimately, the breakout was at 403. Right, so did that work? It did, okay. So ultimately, the 403 was the breakout level. But if we get to 420 bucks, there's been huge sells up at that level for the last week or so. So I want to respect that. If we get up there, I'm looking for a reversion on Tesla, but not before. Let it get to that price and then work. Novo was the only thing that was like super clean. I'm questioning how much I like it back at the same price at 44, but it trended down from 44 to 43 and is back up to 44. So this is the one level that has worked. I'll probably take another shot at it. Not even sure. It did not get SSR, by the way, as well. And Farm Trader says this is a bear market. Bear markets have good bounces.
Definitely right about that.
Bear markets have very good bounce days. That's a factor of a bear market. Sometimes the bounce days are better in a bear market than they are in bullish markets.
And of course, the bear market would just be your opinion to the guy in the chat.
Yeah, we haven't technically hit a bear market.
It's not a bear market, but it sure does feel like that. And it's very sector specific, I think, is the better way to look at a bear market right now. Like, you know, we've seen many names. So we can keep talking about Meta and all that kind of stuff. There are stocks that are down that 20%, which 20% is what will give you the bear market look, okay? So that's when Neil and I, or when anybody talks about bear market, that's supposed to be the levels that we're talking about is the 20%. You could chat GPT that one.
Or Gemini.
Yeah, or Gemini or Perplexity or whatever. I really just use Grok, to be honest with you. I do use chat GPT a little bit for the works or some of the tweets and stuff like that, but yeah, Grok is where I go for all the information. Okay, so yeah, just looking around here. So I'm still trying to go short. I still am short Google, but I'm only getting out at 118 now because, darn it, man, I should stop, or 318, I should stop talking about it because every time I seem to be leaving it alone, it tends to go a little lower. I'm just scalping this now. So I'm out of way more than half now, just trying to take 20, 30 cents. It'll be the only green stock. Well, this and AMD slowly, but we did take not too big of a hit, but we were short there and then long, and we got upside down on Nvidia today for sure. Like it was just probably not too early on the short. Like I liked this short there off of 180, but it's like when it didn't work, then we probably shouldn't have flipped over to the long. I was just like, okay, we're a long day. And I think we were right about the day for sure, but just wrong about the stock. And we should have just gone over to this guy right here as it's trying to fall back in a little bit there. And we get a good fill near the low there on this move. We just got, what, 80s or something there on this? Yeah, so we're just really just rinsing it out as we go to the downside here. And maybe we'll be able to hold for a bigger move now. Here it is. There we go. Like now we're like back into the dollar club again. I'm not tired of hitting this, but they're not continuing. So, you know, this will be a big, big win today. Google for sure. But, you know, we keep on getting taken out of our bigger positions. So it's kind of like just making up for some of the hits and not putting us over the edge. Again, but there it is, like more shorts coming in for Google, and that's now $1.20 in the money. So what a wild ride here today. A name I bought last week that's not doing anything today, which is kind of disappointing, is Uber. So this, maybe I'll just get out. Like this is similarly to where we bought it last week on this crazy move down. It did wick as low as $82, but now 83. Like if you can't get going on, first of all, there it is, yeah, face slapper on Google. But if you can't get going on Uber today, I don't know, man, down 0.5% and going a little bit lower. But yeah, buddy, there it is right now. It's Google and getting a little lower. See if we can get something around 316.50 or so. Austin 316.50, is that what it is? Where are you, Joe? Oh, he's listening to music. I was gonna say, we have the Austin sound effect coming through there. But a couple more outs for me there on Google. Good trade alert over there, so we'll figure it out.
And it has been the kind of morning or the kind of day, last couple of days, where trends have been the way to go. So I'm just going to wait for reversions here because that's what worked. VWAP didn't work on IBIT. Trend break worked here. We just broke trend again. We ran the high. I was out when we ran the high, but now we've broken trend on the 3-minute. Let's play back into the volume weighted average price on this one. And if one of these trend breaks ends up being like then it just continues, fair enough. But until then, I'm just going to go based off the setups that we're seeing. Oh, and OpenDoor. OpenDoor is up almost 10% and cracking higher as we speak, but it also looks like this. We're almost kind of a third point on that trend to the upside. It's back above 7, so you have a breakout in the 7 range. It's easily forming. Once it gets to 765, or I guess, yeah, 760, 765-ish, that price area is where I would look for a little resistance on OpenDoor. No real story here. I mean, that I'm aware of. I didn't see a story on OpenDoor, but it doesn't need a story to move. It looks like maybe a technical breakout through the $7 level, and in the absence of something specific, then I'm just going to look for a curl. Either it breaks trend and I'm short, or it gets to 765. Ideally, it would give you a trend break at that level, but it might not happen. So that's the new one that's on my watch. But back over to IBIT, as once this happened, wick the high, break the trend, look for the volume weighted average pricing here. As my goodness, Tesla. Yeah, Tesla might get that 420. It's now $5 away from 420 here. What a super strong name. It almost seems as if like Tesla, when it doesn't have a super big story, the trade's even better. Doesn't even make any sense sometimes, but that's just how it is. It's like when it's not seeming like it's the one, it is. Tesla is the one today. And it just continues to go higher and higher. But that 420 level, I'll take a shot. I'll take a shot. If it gets there, I'm probably going to try to short it. We have a halt right now. Thank you for the super chat. I'm just going to quickly mention Inno Holdings just halted. It's on 37 million shares, $1.41. Tap, actually $1.40. The tap is $1.41. And then TL Bryant.
Yeah.
Sean, we cannot win them all. NVIDIA, thanks for being honest. Always loving the show. Bullseye, bullseye,
because it's bullseyes in the chat. Oh. It just does not showing it up there properly there. No, but that's what I was going to tell you guys. And I say this in the chat all the time, and Neil and I say this too. You can always ask us at any time, you know, whether or not we are green or red on the day or anything like that. I mean, we want to be honest with you. So that's why I just wanted to highlight that. Like, that is to us the most important thing, is being honest with you. We don't share our P&Ls, but we can tell you if we are green and red, and I think that that's something that we're both comfortable doing. So, well, we've already talked about that many times. So, okay, good. Thank you for all of that. There was another super. Oh yeah, by the way, there it is, man. Fired off the hot dog cannon. It's now $2 in the money, and this is what I mean. Like, no matter how I'm trading, being honest, having a smile on your face, going for the next trade is really what it's all about. And here goes Google right now, you know, we're up triple on Google what we lost on AMD. We just got to make back that Nvidia. Moon days, Mondays, my friends. I love that kind of a talk. So we'll say, ride that bull today, man, if you are part of that. And thank you again for that lovely super chat. And I would agree with you, man. It is Moon Day Monday, but where's my guy Obi when I need him? Because right there, this is your reversion trade. Your face slapper of the day right here is going to be, for me anyways, is going to be Google right there. As there it goes. You know, I'm sitting, oh no, I'm not sitting here for another bid. I want to get another piece out here on Google as well as we approach 116s. 116, 316 again right there. Maybe I'll cross up and take out another piece. So I'm at 09s. We'll take out some 25s there. Also at 09, there it is. We get that fill as well. So let's see now if Google really wants to lose the top. I almost shorted the Nasdaq there, but felt some kind of ways about it. I don't know. That 2% number is something. So we just went back to the well with Google, right? So my big move would be on Google there today, and just following the list. Like Google, BABA, OSCR, and SoFi. So I'm going to throw back to Neil in a second, but OSCR. All right, well, whatever, man. It didn't get low enough for us. Like, it's something up 25%. Didn't really want to spike it right early, and you could see why. I mean, it got hit pretty good early, down to 1580. Was always waiting for the 200 period moving average, and that was at 1550. Never got in there, and never got in again. And I just told you I was thinking about 17 break, but I think I'll stay away from that because I'm not seeing the same kind of runner here in UNH or anything. So I think I'll stay away from Oscar at that 17. Feels kind of trappish, maybe.
UNH went all the way back.
Yeah. No. UNH? Didn't? No, it's still down. I was just showing it.
Oh, it's something all the way back down.
Oh, down. Yeah. I was waiting for UNH to take out some of these highs, and then I would be a little more excited about Oscar, but good point over there. And then, you know, a name that honestly, I was looking obviously at the portfolio, and this is a very, very heavy weighting still for me. So if Palantir can get back up, like I'm even thinking like anywhere near this 170 to 175 area, I think is a dump out for me on Palantir and get out of another 10% of what I'm holding. It's just been such a big winner, but you can't get winners until you realize them. So I want to do a little bit of that, but I don't want to shake the tree too much. I still, you know, love some of the positions. And like I just bought Alibaba at 160 flat, like literally I think my bid was 160, I think. So we were able to get that in our account. It's only up 50 cents, not worth really talking about, but you know, rotating out of a big winner like Palantir and into something like Alibaba, which is, I mean, Alibaba's also a monster winner. So I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just a trader, but there we go. We're gonna have to watch out for that, and a good couple outs there. And you see when I panicked out, not only did I get that 09, but I also punched out as well. We're at the 50 period moving average right now. So for me, I'm gonna get another piece out on Google and be fine with it, right? I mean, we don't have very much left. You're talking now about like under 10% of what we had at the top. We've got a lot of clear outs right here and a lot at the 50 period. So far so good. And then BBAI, Neil, and then I'm gonna throw it back just because people are talking about it. Yeah, up another 11%. So, hey man, today, in my account, is going pretty good for some of these sort of swingy plays like Oscar and BBAI, but you know, those also have very bad days.
Well, in a day where the
market goes.
But a day where the market's up 2%, if we're getting a relief rally day, I feel like there's going to be some good ones. We haven't even looked at the quantum names or the nuclear energy names, which I'm pretty interested to see if they could be going. IBIT was the only new trade for me when it broke trend. And this feels a lot like Thursday and Friday, where for me, like 90% of my winning trades have been mean reversions. So when it breaks even a short-term trend, like a short one at the open, look for the long, didn't really grab it at the right price, kind of missed a little bit of the move there. And then we do the same thing, like it breaks this little upward trend, fails the high, play into VWAP. I'm bidding next at 48.7 on IBIT. Worth watching here. ETH back, just holding 28,000 as well. But if we lose VWAP and this ends up being the curl, we've seen slight upward trends get reversed heavily. Like this was a very similar trade. Like I have the exact same, almost the exact same thing on IBIT from Friday, and it pulled back from 48 all the way to like 46.8. So it went more than this to the downside. But the market's stronger today, so it could be a little bit of that. But for now, so far so good. 2 wins, 2 losses will be relatively flat at this point. Just looking for that next trade. I thought it would be OpenDoor, but I want to jump to our good friend Eddie. Well, you know Google went well for you, and now you're looking at HCA, healthcare name. Obviously here, not a lot of volume. Well, Eddie, this doesn't do a lot of volume, but you're an options trader, so I guess you don't really, I think you're an options trader, so you probably don't care about the fact that we couldn't touch this for a day trade. New fresh highs. You chasing this one? What's the story here, Eddie? Because I can pull up the chart and tell you the group is strong, and it is strong, and there's only 370,000 in volume, so I wouldn't touch it. But blue sky setup, so hopefully you're already in this HCA, new fresh tops. It is 10:20. So I know what we're supposed to do, always go to Adara when called for, and then see what's going on with some small cappers, which are usually of interest at this time of day.
Yeah, be aware here as well. I'm seeing some headlines from Abbott Labs. It's not really moving the stock at all, but apparently they've initiated a medical device correction for certain Freestyle Libre 3 and Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensors in the US. Again, not really moving the stock. Let's talk about some of these small caps that are moving though, starting with ENLV Therapeutics, ENLV, this one actually made a little bit of a double top intraday, trading higher after announcing a $212 million private placement through which they're going to start a prediction market digital asset security treasury through the accumulation of the RAIN token. So crypto and prediction market type play here for ENLV, checking all the small cap boxes. Good look for this one. IBIT, a lot of this move on this one was pre-market, but keep an eye here on Inspire Veterinary Partners. This is a name that does tend to get these kind of small cap related pumps. It's rallied in the past, and IVP, it is worth noting, pretty small float here as well, talking just under 4 million shares on a market cap of, as of this morning, $820,000. Let's end here with BLFY. BFLY was what I meant to look at there. Butterfly Network. Butterfly Network sets you participate at an Evercore Healthcare conference next week. They did announce that last Friday, but BFLY, here's the look. This one trading near day's high. Again, this is BFLY, not BLFY. Before we send you back to Sean and Neil, we'll take a moment to thank our friends at Trade the Pool, because for too long, trading meant risking your own money, or never having enough to start. The fear of losing. That's what kept so many traders on the sidelines. But that's changing, because Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets. With its limited risk trading model, traders use funded capital. Well, Trade the Pool absorbs the downside. This actually allows traders to focus on what truly matters: discipline, consistency, and growth. So when you hit the profit target, you keep 70% of the profits. No fear, no barriers, just real opportunity. This is the revolution of limited risk trading, powered by Trade the Pool. Visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now to get 10% off your first evaluation. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to stay tuned here as we go back to Sean and Neil.
Thank you very much there, Adara. And yeah, for small cappers, well, OpenDoor kind of qualifies as one, I think. I'd like to call it one. Certainly, why not? But it looks like it is not going to break trend just yet. It's still trying to take that 750 out. 10% to the upside, looking really strong. Oh, let me just quickly show you IBIT, because I took another fill. You know what? It just held VWAP again. So another hold of the volume weighted average price. Doesn't get any kind of a reload at 49. But this is one where if we turn here and hold under VWAP, I can add to the short underneath to look for that low of the day. So far, like, the bounce long was much better than the short at the top for now, but I just don't think we're out of the water when it comes to Bitcoin. Call me a little bit skeptical. I saw someone in the chat talking about some technicals on a 4-hour, I believe you said a 4-hour chart for bounce. Maybe it was different, but correct me if I'm wrong, if that's the wrong time frame. I see it still trending down. I know we bounced off 8. We pull back in here. You don't break back above the 88, and now seeing this little bit of a curl, I just don't think you're automatically out of the waters just yet. So I want to keep open mind. That's why I'm willing to go both directions here when it breaks trend. We did get another super chat from Eddie in here. What do you got, Eddie? When Trump talks about something HCA, you know where it's headed. Well, he hasn't really when has he actually steered anybody wrong in a sector? Not really. I can't think of a time. And when he makes an investment, when he made an investment in Intel, that was a great buy. LAC was another example, made an investment there, and U.S. government, I mean, obviously. And maybe it doesn't hold up forever, LAC. Don't at me. The chart's probably it's probably back to where it started. But no, at the moment he said it certainly was a good place to buy.
I don't know if he's saying anything about Google right now, because right now we are $3 in on Google. Thanks, Eddie, for that. Yeah, I mean, that's why you're seeing Oscar move to the top side. We talked about Oscar, but there it goes right now. Google, good trade. Like, honestly, it's we found the top 4 or 5 times there on Google and brought this name all the way back in. So just took another piece out pretty low there, 115.50s. Right there, 115.75. Sorry, 115.50s is what we're not getting. Okay, well, we are getting it as that's coming back in. So next area for concern around 315 flat. So let's put another bid down in and around there. See if we can get that for this one coming through now, of course, Google, but it is what it is. That's just, we put these trades on all the time, and it's just a matter of trying to find the right ones to hold on to and see what is working. SoFi top of 26.65. That could be a decent play as well. Mara hitting on the scanners a little bit, down to $10. So, this name breaking through VWAP right now and trying to get into the low of the day is Mara. If this name completely crushed there. We had BMNR come out and say their average price 28.60 or so for their cryptocurrency holdings, which of course is Ethereum, what we're talking about there. And Ethereum now being underneath or in and around 2,800 puts these guys at risk today. But for some reason, they're up 7-8% right now. BMNR up nicely today, despite the average price of Ethereum being under right now what they're holding. But maybe that just means that they've been getting hit a little bit too much. And you can always do it. It's like 3,000 coins or something of ETH that they hold, tokens. So you could do the math and figure out.
Look at the 3-minute chart for a second, if that was a 3.
This is what? Oh, what?
Look at BMNR.
This is a 5-minute chart.
Oh, it does either way. It's the same thing. Look at ETH right now.
Yeah, it's going Oppo right now.
ETH is Oppo. Like, it's actually holding lower as we speak. Like lower highs underneath the volume weighted average price. So I took a trend, I'm only taking trend breaks recently, the last couple of trades, and I just got into the open one. But looking at BMNR, like it's almost the exact opposite. It doesn't have a clean trend break, but how do you not look for a reversal somewhere here? Key level's not till 28.8, 28.85. But if ETH just keeps going down, like if ETH breaks 2,800, like this has to be a short. But maybe we wait for that to break 2,800 and just be a little bit more patient with it. But that doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense to me. That being said, there is a hedge trade that we all know happens with Bitcoin and MSTR, right? It's like long one, short the other. It's entirely possible the same thing happens with BMNR and ETH. So if that's the case, then you can see this. But I think eventually at some point those things revert. So went into the trend trade, always the same rule for me. Break trend, enter, break prior bar, high out. Every single time. That's what we're going to do every single time. And if we get that top, great.
Apple.
And I look over at IBIT, and it did do the trend break, and it got to VWAP, not yet either following through to the low or consolidating under VWAP. Like it just got under VWAP and then immediately trying to regain it. So I want to be careful here because if it gets back to break even, then that would be breaking this mini downtrend again. So I should actually put a stop in there. So it's either going to be under VWAP for me on IBIT, which I'm going to stick to, maybe put that BMNR ID in the back pocket until maybe lunchtime, because I think that it just doesn't make too much sense. I know the market's strong, but if ETH isn't breaking highs, I don't think the stock can break highs forever. Like ETH only barely trying to go here. And I'm already not a believer in BMNR. I just sort of feel like these things are very dangerous to play. But that relationship's not going to hold throughout the entire day. There's no way.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to look at it, because why is BMNR even up today? But good story from them earlier if you want to look it up. BMNR right now on the amount of ETH they're holding, and then if you just extrapolate that out, you can potentially find out what their market cap is and adjust accordingly with current pricing. So that's what I would be doing if I was in BMNR, which of course I am not, and trying to get out of a lot of crypto names. Like I don't really hold any names other than the four big ones for me anyway: Solana, Ethereum, Cardano, and yeah, not been a good run for many Bitcoin names recently, or crypto space plays for sure. So, all right, just Apple, nothing to do with crypto, I don't think, but nice move up today, up to 276, and then pulling right back in again. We do have Dallas Fed manufacturing just came out right now, -10 in November versus -4 in October. So this could send the markets a little bit lower. And I was actually just thinking that just hit right now. So there it is right here. Business, I can have it. I don't know, Adara. Over there, nothing going on. But there's Dallas Fed Manufacturing Business Index -10.4 versus -5. So nice little move to the upside there, downside in Business Fed Manufacturing. But market trying to go back to the upside right now. It doesn't look like it's having any effect whatsoever. I called up the TQs because this is the weapon of choice for me when trading the Nasdaq in the futures, and we're right back up to highs again. So I don't know, bouncing off the 50 period, trying to get back to highs. I think it's worth a short here for 25 cents. You know, you get something at 50s, you try to get it to 50.14. That makes a little bit of sense today. But the market's just so hot. Like, the short almost seems better when you're making a huge run and then making that move. Maybe even the second time back in, and then we failed. But still a tough trade to look short right now anywhere in this market. I mean, we did so well, I feel like, covering that Google where we did. I told you we had less than 5% left now, so that was a good little level there. Coming back into that 315, 316, and here it goes again. I still don't mind trying this again, but it's high as 318.60. My stop is literally at 318.61. So we took a 40 cents there. We took a hit early on Google. Not early, but no, actually we did it on Google. It's NVIDIA. So we'll have to wait to see if we can short this again. I'm going to put an offer at like 318.40s. If that hits, great. And then we'll try the short for 21 cents again. And worth 21 cents. So short there, and we made about $2 and change. So again, another 10 to 1 risk to reward. So we'll try that one more time if we can. And I was sort of saying that Meta probably not worth doing much with, but Meta up 3%. So those of you that did attempt to catch a falling knife there, not cutting too hard today. Meta actually doing quite well. Up 3%.
Not much is cutting too hard.
No, today's been pretty good.
Outside of Nvidia. Like Nvidia would be like Nvidia is probably the one thing that's taking it the most on the chin. And Novo Nordisk is a different story because of very specific news to them. Like, you know, whatever. Like if you're a drug company, you have a bad trial. And there is the trend break on IBIT. So it ends up the last quarter kind of break even. It's actually a couple of pennies better than that, but we just broke. So as far as I'm concerned, like the short just not as good as the long, and we're still in a bit of an upward trend. So the scalp trade on IBIT was the next. I am eyeballing, as I said, that BMNR, this BMNR ETH thing. Like it's just weird to me. So BMNR is holding this high, and I've got Ethereum trying to break out. So I said if the relationship can't hold, if ETH continues this downward trend, BMNR is going to come down. But the opposite is happening. ETH is actually breaking this slight lower high trend to go higher. If it does that, BMNR actually becomes a bit of a breakout trade. I chuckle to say that. So I'm going to stay away from that one, at least for the time being. And then the next trade, if it's not going to be IBIT, Tesla's getting close to 420. So I said if we got to 420, that's a spot I'd start looking for the Tesla short. This does have a very clean upward trend. Maybe not perfectly drawn here, but you guys can see it. Very clean trend on the 3-minute. Either it gets to 420 or breaks this trend, and I play it back into VWAP. The trend break to VWAP's like $5 on Tesla here, and I think it could easily do that. That's if we don't get to 420 first. 420 is just a big level, but the trend break would be the entry that I'm looking for kind of in the next couple of minutes here. Tesla up 6.5%. 6.5% into 1.9 for the Nasdaq. That's saying a lot.
Yeah, same as these Googles and everything. I'm actually gonna play the other way a little bit here and try to go short. Just like some of these names, like we just mentioned, seem to be a little juicy. If potentially they lose a little bit of steam, maybe this market comes back down in. And I just think it's well worth the risk and reward right now. We're flat right now on this trade. Short rate here at $50.08. Sorry, $50.04. It was just at $50.08. So we'll see about that high of the day coming into play here again for the TQs. We'll get out of it if we run that level. But right now, just looking to average in a little bit on the upside here of the TQs. We had sort of brought this to your attention that the market had topped out a little bit here. Now, it's only 10:30. I mean, to talk about where the market's going to be even in a half hour from now tends to be pretty difficult. But another shot at this high, I just think it's well worth it. If we do retest back lower again here, you'll get well worth the risk to reward on this trade, again, for the futures. And we just talked about the weakness in the market being led by the king. So if that ever reverses here, man, NVIDIA, like if that starts to get real weak, then I think the market falls. We're underneath VWAP. We're trying to do some good there with that short. But I mean, the market is not just one stock. You're seeing Apple start to go back up to the upside. big buoy today, obviously, with, there go, I mean, here go the TQs right now. My stop is, again, not too far away from here because we do not want to let this trade. So I'm going to stop out at 50.20. So $50.20 break. I'm actually just going to put that a little, we don't have too many shares. I'm going to go to $50.25. So $50.25 right now for a stop, and we'll just add a little bit here to it at 19s and 20s. But here it comes, taking out the top of the day right now is the Nasdaq. So we're short here at $50.10. Like, honestly, I can't do much better than that. We actually have a good amount of share size right now. So we'll wait. I don't know if anything, what did you say was turning?
Tesla's turning.
Tesla's turning down? Okay, well, that's good. That's another one here, but Tesla, not a huge part of the index, but definitely helps with sentiment for sure. So here we go, man. We're flat on this TQQ short, giving it, I just told you where we're stopping out at $50.26. This will come out. So let's give this a little bit of a go here and see if we can pull back just a little bit. Downside is where I'm looking, see if it can hit.
Yeah, and Tesla's trying to break this trend, but NVIDIA also sort of very, very similar. NVIDIA's getting into VWAP. And if it loses, look, I think if it loses, it drags a few things with it. But this is the one day where the Nasdaq and NVIDIA aren't really correlated. You're being dragged up by all of the other Mag 7 names. It does seem like, Google's strong, Amazon obviously was pretty strong, Meta is pretty strong in here. Tesla, again, not a huge index name, obviously, like the others are, but it is starting to show some signs of a turn. Needed to close underneath. Like, it's tested this trend multiple times and we just continue to go higher. And as I said, this Nasdaq, it's twofold with the Nasdaq here. One, we're above that 24.6. And then if you think about like the gap, like it's a pretty sizable gap if this ends up being a secondary push here. Do I think we can fill in that gap? I don't really, because does anyone really think we go over 3% today? Monday, holiday shortened week. I'm not seeing that kind of a move. So I'm looking for these reversions. And here comes Tesla. Break that 415.
Yes, break it. Yeah, let's go. Are you short yet? No,
almost.
Okay, yeah.
I'm nibbling in. It's break. The way I look at it, if it closes under the trend line, then I can have full position. As it breaks the trend line on weakness, I'm going to jump in and then nibble in here as we are starting to head a little bit underneath. It's the first time it's actually traveled under that trend line. Like, it hasn't broken it at any point, so I'm going to try to start it up here. And then the other thing, I mentioned Novo at 45 was the level I like better. Did not reload at 44. That ended up being the right call. It is now at 44.5. So Novo is getting very close to that $45 level, which was the key I waited for. 44 to 43 was good, but it was actually 45 that I liked a little bit better. Just patience, because that's actually trending higher along with the market. Go figure. Even with their bad news, Novo's trying to go upside.
I'm trying to be a little patient, but I covered some down there at 6s and 5s on the TQs, but not right into there, just back-to-back 6, actually back-to-back 6s there. I don't know, might not, I'm still waiting for O's, but these futures are bounced off the 50-period moving average. No more averaging in. You know where my stop is, and it's going to get hit right about, and this is not a very big hit. I mean, that's why we waited for this move to happen to the upside, and I don't even want to, I almost canceled that trade there. But don't want to do it. If we're going to be wrong, we're going to be wrong. And there it is, taking us out there at $50.26. I really hope that's not the high as we wait to see. Like, it's not, there's no volume candles here telling me that maybe, we just got taken out at potentially the high of the day, or no one's rushing in to do anything with this level right here. So I think it's best now just to basically calm down and wait to see if this market gives us a long back at the 50 period. We just tried the short. I mean, to me, that was worth it. We took a little bit of profit there. We could have got it all out for winter. But, we're here for a little bit of a long time on that trade. I was hoping that it would work out to the downside, but NVIDIA's getting strong again. Walmart weak today. Finally, a weak sector that we found. Retail downside again. Costco under that 900, I think, is a buy, and we're under there now, so this is probably a buy. I didn't even realize we were under 900, but I do like that level on Costco as a potential buy. Well, only 20 more minutes. We got Joe and Obi coming through today. Should be a lot of fun for you guys on the midday show. Yeah, I think Sharif is back on Thursday, I believe.
That'll be Friday.
Yeah, Friday. Yeah. So Joe and Obi all week, and then I think Sharif return on Friday. But okay, maybe that was the top. I don't know. But Now the Qs are going back down. SoFi, you guys want to talk about? We got to go to Adair in a second as well. Yeah, breaking the top. Another, like, I definitely don't want to short SoFi. I think it can go more than 5%. The market's just interesting because it's up 2%. That's all for me on the market. But okay, Adair, what you got?
Here, guys, there's a lot of strength in tech, specifically electronic technology. Broadcom up like almost 9%, AMD at 4%, Intel to the upside. We've got Arista Networks, Micron all to the upside. Apple only relatively green here, and Nvidia actually slightly negative on the day. Tech services being buoyed once again here by Google up 6%, Meta pretty strong here as well, along with Apple and Palantir. So a lot of these tech names that maybe were beaten up a little bit last week, with the exception of Google, which has stayed strong. A lot of these names that struggled last week are trying to recover this week, starting today. Health tech actually looking pretty good here once again. Merck leading this group to the upside. Producer manufacturing with a lot of strength. Tesla, you're trying to save consumer durables, the rest of the sector relatively flat, but Tesla up more than 6%. Consumer services pretty weak, communications pretty weak, industrial services weak, retail trade with the exception of Amazon weak, and finance kind of flat today, though Robinhood, worth noting, Robinhood and Coinbase both up more than 4% today. So some of these crypto-related plays within finance actually stronger than the overall sector. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, as we send you back to Sean and Neil.
Subscribe.
Yes, sir. And Christopher Ocean, absolutely correct. So if you ever see me, okay, well, no one else knows I was talking to them in the chat. So when I say absolutely correct, I'll explain what I mean by that. Whenever I take a trend break on against the grain, pretty much every exit, with very few exceptions, is going to be the prior bar high. So there's the prior bar high. So on Tesla, the risk is that it was about 15s to 17, and then first targets in here, and it ends up being 1-to-1, but that's just how symmetry usually works in the market, and then the volume weighted average price. But I'm still looking at that same trade. We actually have not closed under the trend line yet, but we are still gliding higher. Once it closes underneath the trend line, I'm taking the same trade again with the exact same strategy. If it closes underneath the bar, the prior bar high is going to be my out regardless. So this is the only one that's really setting up that way. I'm looking at Novo. It's not really giving me that kind of a clear trend, and it's not at that $45 level to be able to catch it yet. And if I look over at Bitcoin, if anything, is setting up. Here, Bitcoin, if anything, is sort of setting up a similar one as well, but it almost seems like this could even be a breakout on Bitcoin. So I'm going to stay away from Bitcoin and just go one at a time here. Right now, this one is what's setting up here on Tesla. And it's not at 420. I feel like if it was doing the same thing and it was at 419, I'd probably like it even better, because 420 is a monster level there for Tesla as it just continues to go higher and higher and higher. 666, of course. Why not? And one other thing I was going to show you. I meant to do this before. Now that it's breaking the highs, you can't break the trend if you're breaking the highs, so there's no point me even staring at it until we see something interesting. When I look at this, I'm not going to look at it. I'm not looking at my quote board from the open, or sort of from Friday. From just the open. From the open, Broadcom is up 6%. From the open, Micron is up 4%. Marvell is up 3% from the open. Quen, 3%. Like, this is a very strong day. Like, these are all great percentages, but from the open, some of these things have just continued to go. And when I look, there's a few names which are distinctly different. BABA was 5% up. Well, 5% up over the gap. And from the open, it's actually up almost nothing. You've seen gold do absolutely nothing in here as well. So there are some laggards for sure in the market, but strong day. Broadcom's the one that feels like, man, we're never looking at that stock. For it to literally be the strongest is surprising to me on a day like today. Nvidia is barely doing anything, and Broadcom up 9%. That's a huge name to be up 9%.
Yeah, wow.
Like, that's not, it's crazy, first of all. So it doesn't feel like the kind of market where you'd get a Broadcom 9% day, but here we are. So still no close under the trend line. See, I said I could look at something else, because as long as you're breaking highs, you're not going to be closing the gap on this trend just yet. But I got to wait for Tesla, taking one shot. I'm usually willing to take 3 on a mean reversion at the same price area. Ideally, you shouldn't have to, but the second one's sitting up as we speak.
All right. Yeah, look, just trying to figure out this TQ short. There it goes again. But Google short is what's really been working. I'm actually thinking about this Nvidia trade again here. And it's just like, it's just finally going. And I should have been long, man. I just should have been long this name from those bottoms. Like that 178 was holding. We could see that that was clearly happening. And I don't really want to go short this name now, but it's had a nice run up. So Nvidia finally turning green now, which is really nice because AMD is the one that's not doing much, but it's Nvidia that's picking it up for it. So I like to short the futures if we do give this back here, but I don't know what Nvidia wants to do. Now the futures maybe is trying to pull back just a bit now. We'll try it one more time here on the TQs. So far so good here. A little bit of a pullback, but nothing dramatic here, of course. So let's see if we can get something in the pullback zone here for the TQs. Get it back into the $50 area, but I don't know, man. Nice high being put in now, up 6%. The Nasdaq just now, congratulations, man. Spin the money for those longs in the Nasdaq, that's for sure. Congratulations, anybody right there that swang anything overnight or just was getting a little frothy there on the top side today. So we'll short it, but wow, what a move there. 2% now for the NQs going higher. We haven't done this in a minute, so I know Daryl just sort of reviewing a few things, but let's just have a quick little look. Remember where the stop is on this one, high of the day on the futures, just in case that cracks while I'm doing this, because that is pretty easy to have that happen. $50.46. I put the stop in right there. Oopsies, we don't want to go this one. See ya ad free. Yeah, Amazon, Tesla, upside. Energy today, not doing great. I saw crude, I think it was $58 or so there today, but this is a nice little quadrant right here. Producer manufacturing, as you see here, Lam up, G Vernova, AMAT, JCI Controls over here as well to the upside. Just looking to see what's down. I don't know what's PNR. Palantir is down in the sector. Not much else. ITW, Illinois Tool Works, downside there as well. So a nice little sector look there. And then here's consumer durables. Of course, Tesla absolutely rocking, but both Ford and GM both to the upside. We saw a small upside play in Rivian earlier there. And then Home Depot was up a couple bucks on Friday, but they're back down to earth a little bit here today, down 0.7, which isn't that bad. And then Costco, like, got to get that one figured out, man. Target hit again, but still, Target's funny because it's kind of just at the price that we're in at, around $86, $87. Probably between 86 and 88. I'll double check that price for you. Probably more near 88, but now 86.50, down a little bit, as they all had good rebound days on Friday. But make sure you do join us, because right now we are going live every day at 8 o'clock. So if you want to talk about some, pre-market movers, we actually had that. There's Google and everybody leading the way today. Google up another 5.5%. Another big congratulations moment for everybody there. I just said a name and I can't remember what it was. Oh no, I know what it was. PFSA, was that what it was this morning? Yes, Prof USA. Yeah, I just wanted to see this one because when I just talked about us going live again at 8 o'clock, this name kind of spiked right there. Oh, hey, what's up, Rob? This name spiked early up to 17 cents and really has been faded all day. So this is part of the thing, right? If we can join you guys early and try to catch some of these names.
That's when you need to cash them.
It seems even earlier, I think like 7.
Sometimes even, actually.
Data Vault today as well. Upside right around 8 o'clock, and then downside as that fade play continues to hit as well. So yeah, gold, silver, we haven't talked much about those. But look at the Nasdaq still getting going here today. Wow, up 2%. What a dip buy the Nasdaq might have been there last week, but hey man, 1 week doesn't make a market. So let's see what winds up happening here this week. I don't think there's a huge array of numbers or anything.
Not really.
But someone that would definitely know and has something to tell you all.
Not till Wednesday.
Yeah, not till Wednesday, okay. Is Adara in behind us?
There's actually a pretty big number tomorrow, guys, PPI. We are expecting tomorrow for the month of September. That's what I'm seeing anyway. So it looks like we could be getting that PPI for September. Again, that's just what I've been seeing. Tomorrow, we're also going to be getting some house price indices and business inventory, CB consumer confidence. I think of all of the days, this is actually the largest economic calendar is going to be for what we're going to have there on Tuesday. Wednesday, we have durable goods orders in Chicago PMI. So Wednesday is actually a little bit lighter than the action we're expected to see tomorrow. Let's talk about this US dollar, because this DXY, I've talked a lot about this uptrend. But if we are to look at things from a technical standpoint, the US dollar actually looks like it could be breaking out here. Interesting level here, that 100.3 area. We've kind of touched the top of that range over the last 2 sessions. Let's see if we break out of it today, because that was also a previous area of resistance going back to earlier this month, Wednesday, November 5th. Now let's take a look here at that CME Fed Watch tool. We have to talk about this tool because, guys, we are continuing to see higher and higher odds, once again, of a 25 basis point rate cut coming through in December, specifically on December 10th, which is when we have the next FOMC meeting. 79.1% of participants, so nearly 80%, expecting that cut now. Now, a week ago, it was 42.4%. So we've almost doubled the odds of participants expecting that rate cut over the course of a week. Let's see if this continues, though. I don't see any Fed speak scheduled. We're getting very close, obviously, to the blackout period. But if I hear anything or any kind of analyst notes as well with regards to these cuts, I'll certainly keep you all posted. Back to you.
Was posted up in there.
Thank you, Adara. Robinhood at the high of the day. And one of those small cappers I just saw in the chat, ENLV, and we talk about this often. But we came on at 8 o'clock. That was your best. That was your best bet. That was your best bet at 8 o'clock. Jumping right into this one on the long side. It's now underneath VWAP. So like it almost feels like this one could be done. Like it broke $1 and went to 180. Like you can't.
Yes.
I mean, you can ask for more than that, but I mean, you can't ask for too much more than that. And now it's back underneath 130. There may be a defend of $1 on this, but just to the point of why we're coming in early, it's not just so we can go over more things and give you a little bit more time to prepare for that 8:30 number when they do happen. By the way, there's just a refresher at 415 here. They won't let it break Tesla 415. So I'm going to scalp them out. I was looking for this support, which is basically 414 change. But if it's supporting there, then I'm going to try and reload this one at 16 and play the trend break. So first scalp just moves about 70 pennies or so, and we'll see if it gets to VWAP. But the whole point about these small cappers as well is not to just get them when they're making the second salvo in the middle of the day, the ones that end up strong, but also to potentially look at some ones that by the time we would have gotten to that one last week at 8:30, 8:40 after the markets opened, it's already pushing toward the highs. Today, we're able to bring it to you and it was literally just breaking $1. And that's your best chance. So hopefully this is something, we think it's a good change starting at 8 o'clock. Hopefully you guys agree. And the other thing I want to mention to you is, if you guys have suggestions of things that we should cover, or hey, maybe go over this before the market opens up, maybe we don't talk about the Asian market. I don't know if people care about that. Hey guys, you're not talking about interest rates or maybe even bond yields, whatever it might be. Just let us know and we'll try to work it in. We have a little bit of extra time to go over things and we're always open to suggestions. Starting early was one that we'd been hearing a lot of, so that's why we're doing it for you.
Yeah, that's why we're doing it. Okay, I was wondering why we're doing it. All right, let's just go over now with the segment that we've created, and it's a popular one.
Monday.
Joe's not here, so hopefully we don't have to hear his comments. Oh, he's here today. That's for sure. Okay, it is What's for Lunch, Joe. He has just arrived back. All right, today should be okay, man. Today, I was hoping that maybe it was going to be some little bit of a turkey action coming through. Maybe we'll get that on Wednesday. So we tend to get things like that heading into later on in the week. By the way, this futures trade is working out. We actually just got out of about 40% of that. Today's, you might have had some of these there today, and it's a chicken dinner winner. If you had any good longs today, for sure, and hopefully you got this back end short right now. But this might be interesting. I don't think we've ever had this before. This is grilled chicken. We've had that.
We've had grilled chicken
with mango salsa. Give it a shot.
Mango salsa is delicious.
We got Randy's opinion there, so we'll see if this can hit. With vegetable fried rice, a little strange to have that with it, but roasted seasoned veg, so we'll see what that is. And mixed greens with citrus dressing. Yesterday we had some nice steaks at the Katina House with roasted mini potatoes. and a Caesar salad. So yeah, we fancy like that. We fancy, huh?
I have to admit, we had to alter my anniversary plans on Saturday.
Boo.
My wife she wasn't feeling well.
Oh, okay.
So I ended up doing like honestly.
Gonna do it again.
We're rebooking for next week, but we did like chicken noodle soup and a little charcuterie board, just like some cheese and
why
crackers.
not?
Just
like
easy on the stomach for.
Easy on the stomach.
I still had a few beverages, but that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
First of all, the mango.
Yeah, it should be good.
This is going to be really good because I think I'm pretty sure they have done it before.
Okay, well then I'm excited for that.
Get down.
Yeah, get down, man. A good trade. We're both short right now. Short Tesla, short the TQs right here, making them sing to the downside. We took a couple hits for sure there when we got stopped out the first time. I don't think we got stopped out there, but we got stopped out there and then just put it back in and right back into the 50 period. Look, we've seen this so many times, hit this 50 period moving average. So silly not to get out. I mean, a lot of outs right there at the 25s, as that's been the 21 period moving average. We haven't broke that since 1030. So maybe down goes the boogie right now, and we'll see.
Up jumps
Where's my guy Obi at right now? I mean, there's only 3 minutes to go. I don't know if he...
It's MSCI today. So there's an index for balancing on Europe, and Obi wants to make some trades over there. So I'm going to keep the mic on and cover for him. So
are we not paying
Joe's
him?
over there, and I'll be on
Obi
this side. I'll stick around a little bit longer here for you guys.
Yeah, okay.
And I appreciate all that. Okay, first of all, I'm going to address this because every time people talk about pineapple in here, pineapple salsa is greater than mango. I have nothing against
salsa?
pineapple. And you can do pineapple salsa. You can do lots of things. I only don't like pineapple on pizza. That's the distinction. Randy, thank you as well. Randy agrees with me. I love pineapple. I've got Antiguan bloods. Where my parents are from. Both my parents are from Antigua. You literally will find the sweetest and most delicious pineapple in the island of Antigua. So I love it. It just doesn't belong on no pizza. All right. That's all it is.
Jody likes pineapple on pizza.
Who?
Jody. Jody in the chat.
I mean, okay. You would just be wrong.
There we go. La Cristobal likes it.
We can all agree
Oh, Mike
to
P.
disagree.
the Rider likes it.
Oh, Mike, come on. Mike, you're trolling, Mike. I don't believe you.
Of course, man. It's Hawaiian is one of the more famous. Created here by a Greek.
Denied.
Of course. A Greek Canadian created Hawaiian. I like it if you have has some jalapenos on it. The sweet and hot go well together.
So in defense of that, that's the only time I had pineapple on pizza and was like, I'm not disgusted by this. Was when if you have to put like a jalapeno or some kind of a really hot pepper on there.
For sure.
And then suddenly it's a little bit better, but it's just a tasting anyways.
Yeah, and that's why everybody has taste buds, right? So congratulations.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Gotta do you.
All right, so here we go, man. The market coming back in is a good one. So I don't know, I mean, I'm still going to be red today, and that's mainly because of NVIDIA. It's only because of NVIDIA. If you take away NVIDIA and you just use AMD, the short, the Google short, obviously, that's still, I mean, Google, Neil, is $4 in the money right now. So, okay, we just don't have as many shares left. And then here comes the TQs. So hopefully when we come back, both these trades will be monsters and then we will be green again. But, red right now for me. All right, man, I got 1 more minute left. So what's the super chat saying right now? All right, Andre, go. Sean, price target on Google. TP your Google, TP. Total profit? Is that what you mean? I don't know.
Take profit?
Take profit? Well, yeah, so just target price. Yeah, so that's what I thought the first time was.
Yeah,
so we just got it at VWAP, man. So like I said, we have 5% left of this stock. We actually had 7%. We just got filled there. I wasn't considering, so I'm taking 2% tranches. So 1 more here at the 200. It's a $4 banger. Thank you so much for that one. And the number 1 P&L stock here this morning is Google. So thank you so much for asking. Next. What's your opinion for SMR buy at these levels? No. SMR is a complete disaster and a hot mess. I wouldn't buy any of these nuclear names at all until we get going again. But you're getting close to, if you like it, to take a possible dip buy opportunity into $15 maybe there for SMR. And then the next one is check out INHD. So INHD, we'll have a quick look on this. Inno Holdings.
That's the halter.
Yeah, definitely heard about this one. Yeah, so halted right there, halted again. There goes INHD. And again, that's good little name there, but it looks like we've reverse split or had this kind of a move before. So I would say watch out for $4 or so here on INHD. So yeah, good couple talk there a little bit. You know, we've done good here today. We're gonna see what winds up happening with the TQs out at the high of the day. And after that, we done, man. So thanks, that was fun.
Always fun. And there's another super chat that just came in as well that was about Starbucks. It was pack 44. So I'm going to throw that one up there. But very quickly, I have a new position that I just put on because we waited for Novo to get back up. It didn't get to 45, but it got close enough. And then you can see a pretty clear trend from the volume weighted average price broke. So I'm short, give it to the prior bar in here, and then look for the VWAP entry. And where did that super chat go? There it is. Pack 44. Is that, now, is on the off chance that is...
Green Bay Packers?
Green Bay Packers. Let us know in the chat. I don't know who wears 44, so I have no idea.
Davenport used to, but I don't know who wears it now. I don't know who wears it right now. I don't think maybe
you're a Packers fan. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you. But you say price target in 1 month. I mean, to give a price target, like I'm assuming you want it to be bullish. Here's the issue with Starbucks right now. See what's happening here? Up around $95, 95 to 100. It's just rejection, rejection, rejection. And you got the 200 period moving average. So any upward move, it has to, you have to beat this before you can do